that? We're live. Okay, wonderful. I wasn't sure it was going to work today because it didn't want to work yesterday. I'm not going to lie. Probably going to have me standing there and looking like a bit of an idiot for a few minutes. It doesn't show me. It's got this weird delay. But welcome everyone to Hash Church. Let me make sure I turn that extra volume off. Holy Christ. There we go. Sorry, I had 3 YouTube pages open and it was all my voice going back through. So first of all and foremost, welcome to Hash Church, season 11, episode 28. I do have something I'm going to try to do today. You guys can let me know if this works.
Howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy.
One more.
Howdy, howdy.
A little howdy, howdy from the skunk man himself. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. I don't know if I got it right. If you did, well, awesome. Next up, we're going to do our sponsors. We want to thank the sponsors as always for, supporting Hash Church. All right, so we got to go over here. Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot for me to do in the morning when I'm all tired, let me tell you. But first and foremost, trusted by top hash makers from around the world since 2016, the Press Club is your one-stop shop for award-winning solventless gear. From press bags to wash bags to presses to vessels, you'll find everything you need from wash to press. We at Hash Church are big fans of the Press Club and what they are doing in the community, so we're excited to have them on board as an official sponsor for Hash Church. These are made in the USA, patented pink stitch, 0 blowout guarantee, a small family-owned business with free expedited shipping over $75 with international shipping available. You can visit them at thepressclub.co and use the code HashChurch to take 10% off your purchase. Huge shout out to, who else are we going to shout out today? Geez, I wonder. Let's shout out Puffco for powering Hash Church and powering all the heads out there. Puffco's game-changing devices like the Sleek Peak Pro, the versatile Proxy, and the compact Pivot bring unmatched style and performance, making extracts a vibe for everyone. Their passion for cannabis culture keeps our community blazing strong. Discover the Puffco difference at www.puffco.com and follow at Puffco on Instagram. Bubble bags remain the gold standard for water hash extraction. I think we actually have a sale on right now if you want to reach out to us at bubblebag.com. Pioneered by the innovators who defined the craft. Built to last, these top quality bags come with a lifetime warranty guaranteeing years of flawless performance with a legacy of excellence. The Bubble Bag team delivers unmatched reliability for enthusiasts and pros chasing premium hash results. Elevate your extraction game at www.bubblebag.com and use the code HashChurch10 for exclusive savings. Ad Lucem Law Firm. Shout out to my good brother, Robert W. Laurie, Oxford graduate, and probably one of the coolest lawyers I know. Shine bright with justice looking for unparalleled legal expertise. Ad Lucem, led by Oxford graduate Robert W. Laurie, delivers brilliant solutions with integrity and precision. From complex disputes to strategic counsel, we illuminate your path to success. Trust Ad Lucem to light the way. Contact us today at adlucemlaw.com. And he is truly one of the only lawyers that will take a dab bigger than yours. So there's got to be something there. Welcome, Etienne Fontaine. Want to give you a big shout out, brother. Thank you so much for just for doing everything you did. Yeah, well, just for doing everything you do all the time. But just, it was nice to see you hold court yesterday with all those wonderful people. I loved seeing Forrest right next to you and just hearing nice things about Wade. I sat for 2 hours and listened to everything. We had difficulty with the audio. It was very echoey, but myself and Brian and Colin, we sat in here puffing dabs and listening to the stories and listening to the positivity. It was so nice to see Cameron and his mother get up there and speak about Wade. That was heart-wrenching for sure. And just everyone, the love that the man put out was really an inspiration. And, the more you find out about his life and the more you learn about him, like he was just like the rest of us. He was learning. He really became Wade Laughter, through all of the choices that he made throughout his life. And I think his selflessness is part that we appreciate the most here on Hash Church. And I also think, because I've been saying this a lot lately, that I just believe that the highest value a human can offer is their authenticity. And it's also simultaneously the thing that we're all the most afraid of. No one wants to stand out. No one wants to, be unique. No one wants to be different. Unique is like the positive side of different. I don't want to be different. Well, what don't you want to be unique? There is no better Etienne Fontaine than the one sitting in front of me right now. There never will be. There never has been. You are here right now, dude, and I just feel blessed to be able to share the world with you. And I really think that you and I need to get together again sooner than later and spend time in person, because I never got to with Wade.
Yeah, it was first off, to Monica, nothing but love and support. That's Wade's widow. Um, Hundreds of people came out. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. It was hot, but it was an honor just to be part of it. It was a privilege to be asked by Monica to moderate his life. So I did the best I could given what I had. It was a wing it sort of situation, but yeah, the outpouring of love and support from everybody was stellar. Caleb, I saw Caleb was there. He came out, Caleb Chen. Of course, he's one of the judges of the state fair, so he ended up going that direction. But it was great meeting him, and I got to meet his future wife, his fiance, which was really fucking cool. Um, And of course, I brought some books that I exchanged with them. Rob's wife wrote a book on hemp, so I shared that with them, and another book called Grasslands, which is a kind of a photo documentation of growing up in the Emerald Triangle. Um,
Beautiful.
but it was yeah, it was humbling. I got to meet all kind of people. I got to see all kind of people I haven't seen in years. Quite a few people came out to represent, especially the whole Nevada City community really came out strong to share their love and support because of how much Wade had an impact. And it was wonderful, as you all heard, to hear the different impact statements from family, friends, and yeah, especially the patients. I got to finally meet Silas. You know what I'm saying? You know how fucking cool that was. He was such a indifferent to you. Hey, how's it going? But I was like, kid, you have no idea how proud I am to just see you here and alive. And of course, Forrest was a little late because he was trying to get him out the door, typical teenager stuff. And that made us all giggle, because, how wonderful that, Forrest gets to deal with normal as opposed to sheer and utter fucking chaos that, he's had to deal with while his son had it. And then to see other patients and testimonials come forward. It's a humbling reminder of the work that you do touches so many lives that you may not be aware of. And to see that come back, it was very special, I know, for Monica and the community to see and to come forward with. It was humbling and beautiful. And, when you see an outpouring of that, there's no doubt you go, wow, that would be nice to have something like that if that were to happen to me, you know. So it was beautiful to see some people I hadn't seen, of course, since David's funeral, unfortunately. But I did get to see people like AC, Moon, and others. I also got to make another David delivery, so another little thing off of my chest to get more of his ashes out there. So my duty continues, and I'm almost done with that. But it's definitely stressful. Handling your friend's ashes and making sure they get to where they need to be. One of those things you're just never taught in life will be a struggle you're going to deal with along the way.
That's
But
it, man.
it was humbling. It was beautiful. Got to then, smoke and share pipes with Swami and various other people, which was just very nice to do after, celebrating somebody else's life and mourning so hard. Everybody, it was hard for everybody. Everybody was struggling. You know what I'm saying? Wade had that type of impact on people's lives, and a lot of people did not one, want to believe that he's gone. Two, because of how driven his spirit was to the change. And it was beautiful to see an outpouring from the community to say, yeah, this man stood up for all of us and we stood up with him and we're proud of that. And that's fucking rare, people. And it's beyond fucking beautiful.
Well, you gotta do the work. It's not that it's rare.
Right.
It's like
It does,
you
it isn't
gotta do
handed to
the
you.
work.
You got to
Yeah, you
do a
gotta
lot
do
of,
the
well,
work.
it's not just work, it's a lot of sacrifices.
You gotta be the
You know,
guy.
you know
You
how
gotta
many
be the
people, how many beautiful people were like, Wade sat there and gave me space. He was there with
yes.
me. He was present with me. Time after time again, people spoke to his humble, beautiful nature and how he personally impacted them time after time after time. And you could see how special his soul was to everybody who was touched by it, and they came forward to reflect it and to speak towards it. And many people came up afterwards thanking us for what we did, but we also thank them for what they've done to make this a reality for where they are. So it was reassuring. It was absolutely humbling and beautiful, and I was honored to be just a small part of it. And right now, and it was wonderful to see the outpouring of support for Monica. Um, and the community is going to be there for her because her life's not over. She's got a lot of life still in her and things to do. So it was wonderful to
Absolutely.
see the community's support and help and move forward and offer support in the future. And also people reassuring, because she told me, my biggest regret is that once this is over, I'll know he's gone.
I heard that.
And that fucking hits your soul so fucking hard. And so it was wonderful to see the outpouring of emotion of the locals to say, yeah, she's not forgotten. We're not going to forget her. We're going to make sure that she's taken care of. And that was beyond, wonderful to hear. So sorry to belabor the point, but it was, yeah, I left at 8 o'clock last night to get there, and I got back at 10 o'clock last night. So it was a lot of driving, but it was well worth it. And I thank my support human, Mike Davis, who came along with me, our VAC members, and Asaya Gonzalez and other VAC members, Veterans Action Council members were there to help share in the responsibility and the love load. So it was something we all hated to see each other under those circumstances, but it's under these circumstances we need each other. So it was wonderful to be there for each other and support. So yeah, thank you
Well,
once
that's
again for broadcasting it and letting the world and the hash community see. Sorry I couldn't check in with everybody. It was a hella emotional day and dealing with, I was really in it, and yeah, it was wonderful.
well, I'm glad you pulled it off, and definitely huge love send out to Monica. Obviously, the Hash Church community is going to be there to support you, as well as the Veterans Action Council and all the other communities you have. Same to Diana in Amsterdam. Don't ever forget that you have this community. I know you're in the chat right now, but we love you dearly. We're here for you. We know that things aren't just suddenly hunky dory for you either. Sam's only been gone since January, and I wasn't with him for 54 years, and it left a pretty big hole in my life. So I can only imagine that Diana could obviously still use our support, as can Monica. And there's been some incredible people, Ryan Lee from the community, Chimera, just stepping up and really being there for her. So I know that that will be true as well for Monica, and that anything either of you need or need help with, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me directly, to anyone in the community that can offer that help. I definitely want to welcome from the Yanking Roots, Paul and Calmer, who just popped into the to the room. Yanking Roots, how you doing there, buddy?
Oh, I'm beautiful today, man. Just thinking about Wade this morning a lot. And yesterday was really touching in so many different ways. I was thinking about there's a there's a quote that someone said that Wade had mentioned, I think very loudly throughout his whole life was that we've never legalized cannabis, we only commercialized it. And that kind of hit me like a ton of bricks because it's the truth. I mean, it was just such a profound drop the mic statement. Um, and it just highlights how much work we all have to do to keep fighting um, for what we believe in and what we know. And Wade was such a like a torch, just like Sam, you know. Sam to me was like this academic wizard that inspired me, and Wade on the flip side was this to the roots to the bone in the same light, you know, so hardcore. Um, and it's inspiring in the same ways, you know. And that's I think the unique part about Wade to me is that he lifted people up when he had literally the last gram, right? He was like, you need to have this gram. And that's something, you know, you can live by through your own work is making sure that those around you have the last gram. Because you know what? You're gonna grow more, you know, and that's understanding yourself and the medicine in a really dynamic way. Most people would say I need to roll that for myself, you know. But Wade was the opposite. So I felt like I continued to kind of learn from through others through him when that quote came up, and it reminded me that people are not gone, they're still here. And they're living through others. And that was a great example, I thought, of that, you know, by being able to share that so beautifully during that speech. Again, it just kind of struck me like lightning because it was I think we're all going through it with this idea of cannabis being legal, you know, still all these years later. So but yeah, I'm doing great. I'm psyched for what I got going on, and just blessed to be here and blessed to be able to share. So thanks for holding space, brother.
I'm not always happy to have you. Always happy to have you. We had Wade spoke. There was a couple of hash churches where Wade at the end would finish off, and it was really not coming through clear at all yesterday. So I am going to be editing that video into the end
Oh,
of the stream.
it came through clear, brother. For those that were there, oh, absolutely. There was not a dry eye in the house
I just
after
mean
what I
audio
said.
wise for the stream.
Oh,
It was very much like, remember Charlie Brown's teacher?
wah, 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 wah. Miss
Yeah, yeah,
Sophomore.
yeah. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is on the video only, I'll go back and I'll just edit the video on YouTube and I'll cut the actual video that I supplied to them that they played live. I'll be putting that into that video yesterday. If you missed it, the stream was up. Colin, myself, and best friend Farms Brian we're all there. You should send him a text, Colin, and get
I
Brian in
should,
here.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it was nice for him to show up. You know, it was one of those Zoom calls where none of us really spoke. We were obviously listening the whole time. We were typing a little bit, but mostly just listening. I also wanted to shout out Maggie for helping organize that whole thing yesterday. You did an incredible job. You're really helpful. Thank you so much for, you know, the little bit of support that you were able to give me in regards to getting that microphone working and everything. And yeah, everyone did a great job. It was really nice to see. And like Etienne said, what more could you ask for, you know, at the end of your experience, at the end of your life, to have so many people just saying so many authentically nice things. Like, that was not virtue signaling, that was the real deal. People were you know, you could feel the love. You could legitimately feel the love. And
You
my
don't get funerals like that, right? That you
no.
know, you usually are very somber, etc. And don't get me wrong, it was, and people are and were. But yeah, Maggie, everybody stepped up, rose to the occasion. The support network around, you know, Kim, Swami, and everybody around Monica. Yeah, it was just an outpouring of nothing but support. And, you know, Colin, you're exactly right. Yesterday was a constant reminder, just as when Dave passed, that, the torch is still there. It still has, somebody still has to hoist it. Somebody still has to lift it. And that's our jobs, right? Or has been our jobs. And that's why we talk about it, is because you people who are watching this, you need to get involved. You need to get off your asses. You need to participate. We raised this child of cannabis, right? And we did the best we could, but we were just a bunch of visionaries hoping to eventually be here. We never expected to catch the car, right? What I'm saying, if we were dog chasing the car, we never expected to catch the car. Well, goddamn, did we ever catch that fucking car, and it ran us the fuck over, right? And all of us are not happy, as I've said before, with that child that we've raised. It's an asshole. It's not what we envisioned. We had this beautiful, smart, intelligent child that had a lot of good heart, that was going to do everything properly. And fuck all if we didn't do that wrong. And we have our share of responsibility in it. But also, eternal vigilance is a price of our liberty. And part of that participation is you getting off your ass and participating and getting active to the point where you're affecting change or helping people affect change. Otherwise, if we continue to settle for what we have, we're going to continue to settle for what we have. And this is where we have to again rise to the occasion, step up, go beyond just talk, and put talk to action, so that we can finally raise the child that we want to see, right? Otherwise, we're just going to continue with what we have. And right now, we're fucked in America for the next 3+ years. There's nothing happening at the national level. Everything's going to be happening at the state levels, okay? All the national organizations, I've met with all of them within the past couple of months. Nobody believes anything is going to happen at the national level in the United States. Everybody is focusing inward in their own states and trying to make it and better it. Here in California, we're fucked. I just got another 5% tax in the city of Berkeley, and I got another 4% tax due to the state of California. So now I'm dealing at 43% tax rate just in California alone.
Oh,
And we're working on that.
You're almost at the Canadian tax rate for
I
just
know we're
people.
we're doing our best to catch your fucking asses.
I'm holding my hand up. I got questions for you now. So, as a retailer, what are you seeing from a consumer point of view? Is it less consumers,
Oh
or
yeah. Oh yeah, less consumers because
or is it
again,
less buying?
those
When they come in, they're buying less. Like, what is, or is it both? Like,
it's both. Well, not only are they buying less, they're also the price points have come down. Okay, so those larger margins and all those other things that have been in the past are very, very razor thin, to the point
yeah,
where, people like myself and others can't even pay themselves. We can pay our employees and
right,
all the other ancillary things that need to be there, but I'll be damned if, it's very hard and challenging, because what we started off with BPG, which was charitable giving, creating Americans for Safe Access, National Cannabis Industry, all these other organizations we have funded. Not only did we fund them, we funded their, payrolls, their turning on the lights and paying electricity and buying the computers and all those things, right? Those are major ancillary things that donors did not have the monies for. So companies like us, when we had profits, we put those profits into that. Well, we no longer have those profits. We no longer
right,
have that access, but it doesn't stop our activism or engaging. We were lobbying our city council this week for that change, because I'd been promised by my city council member that he was going to get it done. And as soon as he got elected, he dropped it like a hot potato. So what does that mean? Going in and lobbying and working for that change locally, changing the taxation locally, so I can remove that at least, right? There's things happening at the state level, so people are involved at state politics trying to change the system. The problem, Colin, and a major problem is that the products that were available in my dispensary are now available at Bevmo. They're now available at Total Wines and More. So as opposed to paying, $10 for that spritzers at my BPG, they'll rather go pay $5.99 at Bevmo, right? And they don't have to deal with having a card. They don't have to
right.
have with showing ID. They just do the regular things that they do. So the confusion of this current hemp bill has only confused the consumer, but it's also turned on the consumer to products and product lines that they would have never had the access because they never had the chance to get a card, go into a dispenser, or too afraid, stigmatized, whichever. So we have a shift in the mentality of and people trying and wanting these products now to the point where the alcohol industry is now having to step up saying, whoa, 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 they're taking too much of a hit. So right now, currently, there is a bill in Congress, in the Senate, that just passed that is going to close the loophole so all these THC CBD drinks go away. Now, the key part that's in that is they're giving it a 1-year sunset. So that's the twist that we found out this week, is that they're going to give them a year to get all that stuff off the shelves. Okay. They can't do it immediately because, of course, the DEA immediately wants to start kicking heads in because they've been literally hand tied by the farm bill. And once that's released, the drug war is coming back and it's going to be fucking ugly. Exactly what we saw this week with Glass House, the type of intimidations and stuff that are going to happen. So you as a consumer get active, do what we did back in the 90s and the aughts. Make signs, have signs ready. So when people get busted, you got signs stashed all over the city so people can come out and bring those signs out. It's back to old school activism by, participating locally. When things happen, you have to react, right? So there's a lot of things you can do, but a lot of things, again, are outside of our control, like this hemp bill, or that same hemp bill is pretty much being replicated at the state level. We've seen other states already shut down their CBD markets or THCA markets, and more of that's coming as the ramping up. So consumers, what can you do? Well, if you like your drinks and other things like that, well, you need to call your you need to call your local state representatives and talk to them about what you're seeing, that you, i.e., like these things on your shelves, or i.e., I don't like these things on my shelf because I can't get them at my dispensary because they're only available at Total Wines and More. That's a total shift in dynamic and access that we never had. However, that's the normalization we all wanted. Right? We never expected, let me just clarify, people, we as dispensary people, we created this to be a temporary thing. We never expected this to be permanent. Okay, so we expected to eventually go away because we expected it to be normalized to the point where do you get your alcohol and your cigarettes? Local convenience stores, even, right? So eventually it's going to be that way. It isn't going to be all hidden away. We wanted it normalized, and it already kind of is. So we've seen that shift now, right? Pandora's out of her box. Now, how do we get that back in? A year of winding that down? You really think that's going to turn off the consumers to those drinks that made them switch, that doesn't give them that hangover from alcohol that they had? They like the no hangovers. They're total, right? Everybody I know is like, I like this stuff because the next day I can actually function and go about my day, as opposed to, how many days did it take to you to deal with a hangover? It can be 1 to 2 days, depending on how severe it is, to get back to normal, right? Whereas with cannabis, they don't have these problems. And that Gen Z for sure loves that it doesn't have that problem, because they can function and continue and do their jobs and works and lives. Whereas alcohol debilitated to a point where they had to recover for literally a day hidden, and calorie intakes and all that sort of stuff just to combine with, which is that whole binge situation that we do due to not responsible alcohol use. Right. Whereas it's easily to have responsible cannabis use. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to fall asleep. You're going to have a great night's sleep, things like that. So there's a lot to that, Colin. It's not a simple answer in the sense. However, there's a lot of places where people could plug in and get active and get involved. There's there's local organizations within your state. There's cannabis organizations that you could join, belong to, get involved with, and participate in actively, as opposed to sitting on the sidelines. That's what all of us have done. We got tired of participating on the sidelines and actually participated. And what did we do? We affected change. Each one of us, where we were and are, have affected and made that change, and continue to shape and make that change, because we're not happy with where we are. We're not settled with where things are. However, the status quo of the public is. And how do we educate them to the point to where they feel the need to get active? And this is, I think, we're at that tipping point.
Well, Pandora's box is certainly not getting closed up here in Canada. There's just no way it's happening. Federal legalization is secured. I will say that what I saw when federal legalization happened in 2017, just like the people, everyone got a license to protect themselves from the law, which, didn't really work out for patients. It convoluted patients, it diluted I just didn't, it left a bad taste in my mouth here in Canada. Now, did I go get a license to protect myself? Of course I did. Am I a medical cannabis user? Of course I am. Did I sell my cannabis in the black market? No, I didn't. That was the one thing I didn't do because I felt like I would give some away, but I would just kind of keep it for myself and make cash. I would say 99% of people who had licenses in Canada were growing for the black or gray market, which is fine. I'm all about access to all cannabis. But what I saw was the same thing when medical cannabis with Hillary kind of, she started creating the Compassion Club and it built into what it built into. What I saw was every company wanted to serve patients. They all wanted to have the most patients. They all wanted to have the biggest, like, oh, we've got 1,000, we've got 2,000, we've got 5,000 patients. The second legalization came through for recreationally, they dropped those patients like a hot potato because dealing with patients is so much more difficult than dealing with a recreational purchaser. Someone who's going to walk into a gas station and buy a vape pen versus someone like Forrest who has Silas, like it's just not the same. There's a more intense situation when you're a patient and you need to use cannabis. There's less, you're just not going to put up with the bullshit. You don't want to hear it. You're like, look, this is my life. This is my son's life. This is super important. So I just saw tons of companies just drop patients like a hot potato and just go recreational. Like all they were waiting for was recreation, but they were pumping the medical like they were a big medical, company that was going to take care of all these patients. Even Shoppers Drug Mart, part of Loblaws, a $55 billion company, dropped their medical cannabis program. They're not even doing it anymore. So it's kind of a sad situation up here in Canada. I will say this, Etienne, be careful fighting for legalization and for, access the way we ended up getting it. Because yes, patients now can just go buy recreational cannabis everywhere. It's literally, there's thousands of stores across Canada that have it. But, they don't have that same white glove service. They're no longer being cared for in the same way. There's no, it's very different. The work that you do, all of that invisible stuff, all of that research and the testing and the setting everything up for the safety of the patient is not as, look, I had this conversation with Richard Rose the other day. He mentioned something about cannabis being in gas stations and not being safe and Delta 8 and this, that, and the other thing. And I said, dude, I hear you. But you have to understand, this is in a country where they're selling alcohol as the number one recreational drug. It's the most dangerous drug. It kills more people than all illegal and legal drugs combined annually. And it's available on every street corner and at every restaurant. So why the fuck would they care about making cannabis safe when you could just sell spice at the gas stations? And I swear they wouldn't care too much. That and radioactive tobacco, radium-226 sprayed right on the tobacco that you're inhaling into your lungs, polonium and lead-210, also a recreational drug and for sure gives you cancer. Recreational drugs are not safe. They're not secure. That's what medical cannabis was supposed to be. You could surely grow cannabis in a non-regulated way and make it a dangerous product. There's all sorts of products. Here in Canada, they spray it with pylon, like more pylon than you could possibly imagine getting sprayed onto these plants. I was in a 1,500 lighter recently, and I was just like, what is that smell? And he's like, oh, they're spraying pylon. I left immediately, and I thought all of those people who were working in that room, not just breathing it in, no air masks, no nothing, just getting exposed to pylon on a daily basis. And then, trimming it all out so people could smoke it and inhale it into their lungs. When I first started as cannabis became legal, there was this sort of group of legal cannabis chads that would be like, oh yeah, you have to buy legal cannabis. Illegal cannabis is so dangerous. And I was like, what? I lived off illegal cannabis for 25 years. What are you talking about? It was so dangerous. And then I started realizing some of the chemicals that were being sprayed on these plants, fungicides, pesticides, systemic poisons, Avid, Eagle 20, on and on and on the list goes, glyphosate, like on and on and on the list goes of the things that people will spray on this plant. And yeah, it's not good for sure. Welcome to Dr. David Allen, who's popped in for a little visit on Hash Church. How you doing today, buddy?
Good morning, Marcus. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing okay. We celebrated Wade Laughter's life yesterday in California and Nevada City, and we streamed it here and spoke about that a little bit this morning, and just just trying to be more like, I want to be more like Wade, and I want to be more like Sam. And when Etienne tells you to get up off your ass and go out and do something, and you question and you say, well, Etienne, what should I do? I have the answer. Be like Wade, be like Sam. If you can't figure it out from there, I can't help you anymore. But if you can figure it out from there, be like Wade and be like Sam. If you can be a little bit like both of those giants whose shoulders we were lucky enough to stand on for all these years,
Nice.
I think you will find the way in a big way. And yeah, be like Dr. David Allen as well, because he's fighting the good fight over there as well. Ooh, strawberry lemonade on my fingers. That is some nice, tasty goodness.
I think
Bob?
that's a great point, because people are wondering, well, how do I get involved? How do I do what I do? Well, just get active. Sometimes just getting on a mailing list, right? And then learning what events are out there, and then going to those events and showing up. Volunteering. That's what we all do. We all volunteer our time. None of us are paid activists. Of course, our jobs and things that we do are for sure doing that, but each one of us has chosen to step outside of our comfort zones, outside of necessarily, where we would prefer to be, because yeah, nobody necessarily wanted to be here to do these sort of things. It was the Jacks, the Dennises, and the Ways and others that showed us how to do that, not only to do it, but do it with a style and a grace that was their own, the same way that you will, right? Because there's no, manual to life, but we can look to others that lived their lives strongly as well as respectfully, and we can mirror those things. So I think you bring a very great point there, Marcus, that, when people do feel less empowered, or they feel like they can't do anything, just by getting around and being around other like-minded people, and by being around them, you can find your motivation, find your voice, and contribute accordingly. But it takes a little bit of brevity. You're going to have to, take that step. You're going to have to be uncomfortable.
Right.
And just so you know, all of us, when we start off something new, we all suck at it. We all sucked when we start. I sucked when I started speaking at rallies. I sucked when I was out initially selling cannabis. But I got up every fucking day and did it again and again. And I got better at it by listening and learning from others, to the point where next thing I know, I mastered it and was teaching others to do the same. So once you master it, it's the
Right.
kind of same thing I did in the army. Once I mastered artillery in war, I wanted to do something else. And the military is like, no, 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 son, you don't understand. You know how to do this now better than anyone. So we need you to teach this. Right. And so that's what you do, right? I went to Oaksterdam University and I taught people how to, do the things regarding that, because that's what teachers taught me to do. So, I met somebody yesterday who's like, oh, yeah, I teach at Oaksterdam University now. I'm like, oh, that's great. I used to do that back in 08 and 09. That's a great tradition. You know what I'm saying? That's a great thing to have on your resume. That's stepping outside of your comfortability, contributing somewhere, educating countless others, because I used to teach 50 to 100 people in a class. And then when I would get done right at lunch. And then I would spend the next hour hanging out with the class and answering their questions, because why? I own and operate a dispensary. And one of the things they wanted to do was own and operate a dispensary. And you know what thing they couldn't do was ask somebody who was doing it how to do it. And that's what I did is I sat there and I gave my free time and explained how I did what I did. And you know what? Those people that I taught are now running dispensaries and they contact me and say, you know what? Hey, thank you. I was, you don't may not remember this, but I was in your class and this is what I'm doing now. And let me tell you, brothers and sisters, there's no money that they can pay you for that type of fucking satisfaction and that type of feeling. When somebody comes to you and says, Bubble Man, I took your bags and look at this, what I made. I made the most amazing hash I ever
Beautiful.
made. And it's thanks to you. I mean, don't get me wrong, they did their work, but at the same time, you provided them the tool and the education. And what did they do? They took it and they listened. And then
That's it.
not only did they listen, they were able to achieve. And I can't tell you, Marcus, how or maybe you can explain how absolutely satisfying it is when somebody takes your creation and makes something beautiful themselves from it that nobody else could have done except themselves. And that's
Oh, it's
priceless.
amazing. It's amazing. It's the greatest thing ever. When you said you had learned about artillery and then you had to start teaching it, and then you went right into teaching at Amsterdam, I thought you were going to be teaching artillery at
Artillery, of course.
Amsterdam.
Boom, boom.
Sort of is though, right?
All right, today we're going to be learning about the F-17s. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Go ahead, Colin.
Well, I think, I remember being excited in like 99, 2000, and I was just getting to know you around that time, and then once I got to know you, every time I had some proliferation, I was like trying to reach out to you and like be like, dude, I made this stuff and it's because of you, and it's this like exchange of excitement that at least I got, because I felt like I was learning from you, Marcus, at the time, and asking questions. I remember specifically asking, it was snowing out and I decided to use snow. And you're like, dude, don't use snow. You know what I mean? And it's like, and this is like 2002 or something, you know what I mean? And
Hold on.
I'm
Why
like,
should
I
you
got
not
no
use snow?
yield. You know what I mean? I got no yield. And I couldn't figure out why. And now all these years later, we all know why. You know what I mean? But in that moment, it was like just really nice to have someone to look to and express my excitement to, and then in turn see Marcus's excitement. And then also his like, hey, do more of this, less of that. That was at the time, I still remember those moments where I would be online and be like, dude, I grew this plan. And at the time I was really infatuated with just growing the best resin, and then it's over time it shifted to making the best resin in the lab for me. And it just was nice to have that camaraderie. It felt like a secret friend that understood me, like understood what I was like really excited about. And yeah, it just, those are really unique things, I think, and special. I think
It's
that's,
priceless motivation, right?
yeah, it
It's
really is.
priceless
I don't know how else to explain
reassurance,
it.
right? Because you're wondering, am I fucking this up? Am I doing it right? Because there's no book for what you're doing, right?
Dude, and especially
No.
at the time, there wasn't even like really instructions. Like I remember, you remember Scott, Marcus, you talking to him from PA, and I
Yeah,
remember making hash with him one time, and we like put the bags in all wrong. This is like 2000 or something. Like seriously, like just totally
sounds about
backwards.
right. Yeah,
I'm like pulling it, and I'm like, well, there's like nothing in here. Like, what's up? And then you finally you finally figure it out. You're like, I just did this in complete reverse, and then you redo it all, and it's just through this trial and error at the time. And these are just moments in time that I'll never forget, because there was just no one to ask. There was no one, there was no information, So having you and others on the forum like that around, that were just as excited as we all were to learn about these techniques. Um, yeah, it just, I don't know, it's just really unique and special. I cherished all of that really, really intimately, to be honest. I really do. Um,
yeah,
it's yeah, it's so
beautiful.
nice. I mean, we never had this ability to talk like this, and show our faces. We really didn't. I remember being so
I
scared.
did.
I know you did, brother, but man, it was like
I did
you
too,
had
but
steel
I feel
swinging
you,
between
Colin.
your legs, brother.
People were like, Bubbleman has to be the DEA. There's no way. There's no way this fucking guy is doing what he's doing. And then people would be like, no, man, he's not the DEA. He's a Canadian. And then they'd be like, oh shit, he's a Canadian. Oh. I'm like, yeah, dude, because it's like literally, I'll tell you, I don't know. And I'm not trying to throw the DEA under the bus here, but I don't know how bad you have to be at your job. I was a nobody Canadian who just started a company and ended up with thousands and thousands of growers and hash makers, addresses and phone numbers. You would not believe how often they would give me the address to their grow to send the bags to. And I've got this whole database of all these people. And I'm just like, wow, like the DEA just can't figure shit out. Hey, like they just don't know how to, they're burning billions of dollars and all they ever really get are people ratting on one another. And it goes to show you that the very thing the DEA attacked, and you can deny this or agree with this, but to me, the DEA was always about one thing. They were all about destroying trust within whatever community they were in. It was to destroy trust. How would they do that? They would bust you and then threaten you with 40 years in prison. And then if you were a somewhat thinking human being, you'd be like, ooh, well, I can't do 40 years in prison. So then you'd do the next thing, which was like tell on your partners, which countless people did. And then you get these people like, oh, fucking snitches, fucking rats. It's like, bro was faced with 40 years. He's got kids and a family. Like, what are you talking about? We're not gangsters. This isn't some like gang that we're all in. Nobody wants to serve 40 years in prison. Rick DeLisi's father served 32 years in prison. This is fucking insane. I mean, Dr. Allen, they probably wanted to put you in fucking prison for 30 years.
Yeah. They were trying to give me 35 years was the deal they offered me.
That was Kamala?
Yeah, with Kamala. The drug task force said if I pled guilty, that they would only give me 35 years. I said, let's go to court.
Fuck, I'm so glad you did, buddy. Holy shit. You're one of the few stories, you took hits. There's no doubt about that you took hits. You are a drug war veteran. I won't deny that. But you also somehow managed to fucking evade and shield and like get out from under like the ultimate vampire attack.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. You definitely have a crazy story. I met Dr. Allen, my goodness, it must be like maybe 15 years ago. He was sitting right here in this very chair. We did a video. Do you remember that with Mark Clokey?
With Romeo.
And Romeo, yes, you always had Romeo. I might have even met you at the Tokers Bowls. Did you go to the Tokers Bowls, Mark Emery's Tokers Bowls events?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, crazy, hey? I think so. This is what happens as you amass 50 to 60 to 70 years of life. It's hard to remember all the details. I'm definitely there. I barely remember the Tokers Bowls, but I do remember they were some of the funnest events I had ever been to, which, of course, lots of people don't want me to say because it's Mark Emery. But I'm like, man, Mark knew how to throw a party. There's no doubt about that. Dragonfly Earth Medicine in the house. I believe they have like a group of people over there right now. I think Chimera's over there. I think Natasha Rees is over there with her hubby. Oh, I see Josh puffing a fatty.
I see a Chimera head.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Caleb came in too. I want to shout out Caleb. It was great seeing you yesterday.
Hello. How are you, man?
Puffing on a chillum? Is that what that is you're puffing on? What is that?
Electronic chillum? What is that?
This is the Dynavap with the induction heating wand.
Okay.
Looks sick, man. Where'd you pick that up?
I've actually had the Dynavap for like 5-6 years, and then I just got this from Luna Stour.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, shout out to Luna. She's such a great
Never met
person.
Luna.
The last time I saw her, in fact, she gave me this.
The wand.
That's exactly what I'm using. And I just saw
Yeah, dude.
Etienne with his yesterday.
Yeah, I had
I
mine
haven't,
yesterday too.
so I should crack this open, eh?
Yeah. If you got a Dynavap, it's excellent for it. Charge
Dude,
it up.
I
Set
have
it
a
to about
Dynavac.
350. Set it to about 350, 320, and go for what temp do you do, Caleb? What do you like it at? Probably toward the hotter end or what?
I actually have it set to 250 so I can really not get
Whoa.
burned.
Sippy, terpy
Yeah.
sippies.
And what
Okay.
are you vaping on it? In it?
So just flour right now, and I'm actually like going through a flight that Mojave gave me. So I've been trying like the original Sage, the parent to the Zeta, and it's been blowing my mind.
It's amazing terpinolene, isn't it?
Yeah, not like anything that's out on the market.
Heavy
I can't find my Dynavac, but I know I have one somewhere. He gave me a real nice one the last time I bumped into him in, I think, Barcelona.
When you're not looking for it, that's when you'll find it.
Yeah, dude, I have such a mess of shit. This is shit people have sent me.
Love it.
It's
It's
just
awesome.
like a 10
Mountain.
foot or 10-foot shelf. Yeah, it gets caught up in there. Holy shit. Welcome, Dragonfly Earth Medicine. How you guys doing?
We're saying you have a lot of stock there to give away.
I'm actually giving away a set of bubble bags today.
Nice.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, they're just little ones. They're 2 gallons, but it is an 8-bag kit. And dude, I think
that'll
bubble
change.
bags will always bring me happiness. The softness of the outer shell and the colors of the bags. It's funny when I think my manager made this and someone was like, "Oh wow, you're like bubble bags is big for the LGBTQ community," and I was like, "Fuck, no, I didn't." I was like, I mean, maybe we are, sure, yeah, sure, but really, we are. Those are the bubble bags. So it's like blue, green. That's 220, 190, 160, 120, 90, 73, 45, and 25.
Yeah, just so you know, people, there is no black line in the pride flag, so that's how you know.
I'm
Really?
not getting paid to say this, but I do. The bubble bags are great. They're a great product. They always have been. They've been. I had the first set of bags sewn up by Marcus's wife.
You did.
And I think I still have one of the bags of those somewhere.
I have my set as well, sewn by her
But
as well.
Has been an incredible product, and they're the bags that I use. There you go.
Well, I'll tell you, you were a unique individual in the sense that not everyone that used bubble bags the first time got amazing material out of them. In fact, that wasn't the case at all. There was a hugely disproportionate amount of people who were getting, I get this question all the time. Hey, how do I get my hash to melt like yours?
Yeah.
It's dry and sandy and it won't stick together no matter. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's literally describing to me that he grew shitty resin. And now I have to tell him that he grew shitty resin, which was very awkward and difficult to kind of tell people. Like, I think at the time, BHO, Indra had just released the BHO as I was popularizing the bags, because the bags came out with Mila in 98, just a few months towards the end of 98, and then boom into Bubble Bags 99 of March. Indra was February of 99 on Euroa.org, releasing the, nice Etienne, releasing the butane method. And what I noticed was that disproportionate group of people who were making hash with my bags that didn't get the hash they wanted, the melty gooey, instead of going down the pathway that I was telling them was the ideal pathway, which was to learn about growing, learn about living soil, learn about all these relationships, learn about the fungi intelligence of the mycorrhizosphere, just like pointing them in the direction of basically a 20 to 30 year journey. Most of them were like, yeah, no, I'm just going to blast it. And then they blast it with like, ethyl mercaptine rich fucking canned butane from the 7-Eleven. And now they had this beautiful golden, super potent, like I can only imagine, I get it. Like it's just, I get how much people loved it. It was just such a crazy bummer that, and so you were in that very small percentage of people who put your shit into the bags and got like full mount fire out. So everyone that was on your side of the fence, which was a much smaller side of the fence, they love bubble bags to this day. Less of the other side, because those people eventually, you know, butane was popular. It was building and building and building. And then, you know, Johnny did that show called The Death of BHO, which was rosin. And it really was the death of BHO, because if you want a convenient, easy, and safe way to make dabs from your mediocre material, well, rosin is going to be the best that there is. You're not going to beat that. You don't, and you're not blowing up. So no more high school kids blowing their hands off or setting fire to the house, or Buddy blowing his pregnant girlfriend out the second story floor of his apartment in Surrey, blew the whole wall off of the fucking apartment and blew his pregnant girlfriend out of the apartment down. Yeah. So, and by no means am I saying that those of you who are doing the Chris Phillipses and the, you know, the people who are doing BHO extraction, of course I would fight for your right to do BHO extraction. Of course it has a place in the cannabis industry. People have an affinity for it. It's a cheaper way to get quality resin into people. But people shouldn't be doing it on their own, especially people that failed grade 10 chemistry with zero understanding that the plugs in your wall are sparking all the time. If you got a microscope into the plug, you'd see little sparks just arcing and sparking. And if you don't know that, and then butane is a heavy gas, it sinks, it goes down, it pools around the ground, around, you know, like 18 to 24 inches off the ground. It's just pooling. And so this is all just dangerous. And the rosin method was a way better way. I still to this day say that the majority of beautiful rosin is by no means pressed with 6-star bubble hash. You can press a 4-star and make something that most heads will be impressed with. If you're, you know, if you take a 5-star, well, a 5 and a 6-star, it's like making piatella with it. It doesn't matter what you do with it. It's already at such a high caliber that you could twist it into a bow and call it Bowtech. And I'd be like, oh, dude, that Bowtech hash was fucking insane. Well, because the hash itself was insane. You changing the textures and doing a terpene extraction by sealing it in cellophane or a jar and having those terps boil out to the top. To me, those are all just parts that are already there. If you've got that quality, it's very easy to do any type of cure, name it a new tech, and start smoking it with people. And they'll say, that's some of the best hash I ever smoked. Well, yeah, guess what? 6-star full melt bubble hash or dry sift is the best hash that you'll ever smoke. It doesn't matter what you do afterwards to it. My 2 cents.
And then afterwards, you can take your bubble man bag and make it into an emergency toque.
Yeah, but I think what you just said, Marcus, is
Yeah.
right. It's like, if you make high enough quality, it's unmistakably amazing, and you have no reason to look at anything else. I know that was what it was for me. Like, I still have this kit here with, remember this bag set, Marcus?
Yes. Yeah. The sock.
The sock one, like, this bag set to me changed my life. Like, that's why I still have it, is because I learned how to make what, you know, the hash that I still make today in this set.
That's an 03 kit, I believe.
Yeah, it makes sense, because when we were first making hash, sure, it was pretty good, but wasn't until I started like doing it outside at night when it was cold, and like it just became, the caliber of hash became like that much better, you know, and the drying techniques were getting better, right? Anyway, it was just like a moment in time, you know. I just really respect it, and forever we'll cherish that moment of learning.
If you hold that bag up, that's a blue 25 micron sock. So my son,
how big this is, guys.
My son was born in 2003. That was kind of Mark Rose's design. I never really liked it. I was always like, dude, stop changing the design. Just make it a normal bag.
I think, yeah, it is.
Yeah, that was the 25 bag, the sock that he designed years ago. So in 2001, that bag was pink, which was to represent the birth of my daughter, Trinity. And that one is 2003 to represent the birth of my son, Tosh.
Nice.
There you go. That's
beautiful. the story
Yeah.
woven into the bags.
And yes, I'm giving these away in the next, let's say at 11 o'clock. I'll
And
give
people
these
are
away.
asking, how do I enter? So, Marcus, how do they enter to win those bags?
You can't. I'm not telling you how to enter. That's the whole trick. No, I'm totally joking. How you enter is by literally typing shit into the chat. So at 11, when I go live and I open up Nightbot and I change my screen to show all of you guys typing, you'll see that it'll say at right when I start it, we'll have 15 minutes to collect as many names as possible before they start getting wiped off the list. It only collects the names that are typing for 15 minutes, and then I can choose a winner, and we'll give these bags away. I also think we're going to do a small Puffco, not Puffco, Press Club giveaway as well. I don't know what that'll be. It might be a sample of screens. It could be their really cool spoon that I have here somewhere. But I want to do those as two separate, so it won't be one winner for that. It'll be two separate winners. And that's fun to give stuff away. I mean, man, I could only imagine just being a random dude listening to Hash Church. Fuck, Bingo Lombardi is funny today, dude. I look over at the screen and he goes, fucking rookies. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had this amazing troll who trolled Hash Church. He was sending me emails and he was like, you guys are lightweights, lightweight amateurs. You don't even inject psilocybin into your veins. That was just a little piece of what he was saying. And at first it was kind of like, who the fuck is this guy? But then I started reading all of his emails on the show, and they were so fucking brilliant. They were like comedic gold, like truly comedic gold. So wherever you are, dude, shout out to you. He'd just be like, fucking amateurs.
That's fun.
So good. So good.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on the sidelines from injecting any psilocybin into my veins. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I don't mind injecting it into my mouth. I'm a big fan. I'm not going to lie. Like, truly, you can read books, and that will definitely increase your vocabulary, and it should increase your understanding of vocabulary and language. But I'm telling you, if you eat mushrooms, there's a reason why Terrence used to call it the logos. You know, like it truly is like language embedded into a psychedelic experience. Every language, all languages, all how they all come out of one, how they disengage and become, unique individuals on their own. The whole Tower of Babel concept. You can learn a lot from eating mushrooms, I will say. And for me, it was the Terrence McKenna insanity. It was, first it was Tim Leary who recorded the Book of the Dead. And then he would tell people in his book, hey, you should take these psychedelics and then listen to my narration of the Book of the Dead. Amazing recipe for one of the worst psychedelic experiences you will ever have, listening to Tim Leary's voice on a tape while you're high as a kite. That turned into Terrence McKenna. You got to take 5 dried grams in a dark room with just shadow. And so we went to that school, the 5 dried gram school. I will say that 5 dried grams anywhere else was more uncomfortable than in a dark room with maybe 1 or 2 other homies and a mandala hanging with ever so slight amount of light coming in. But I feel blessed.
What about the Wizard of Oz Dark Side of the Moon experience?
That's an amazing one. I'm not a big psychedelic watch TV guy.
Oh no, it's funny though.
It's more than funny. It's definitely unique. We've done it. We definitely have done it, and the timing of it. I seen an interview. I think it was David Gilmour, not Roger Waters, and they asked him, and he was just like, "No, like we never did anything to make our." Could you imagine them being like, "All right, guys, we're gonna make this whole album tuned to this movie," like they're in the studio with the big screen watching Wizard of Oz, making sure no, that's the wrong note, it's got to be D minor. All right, there we go.
And it's not that it follows it like to a T or anything. It's kind of a little more esoteric, I'd say, than that. But and I agree that if you're going to do psychedelics, it probably should turn the programming off. That's the whole entire purpose of shedding propaganda and really just kind of going into the internal source which is the ultimate media, you know, which is your imagination, your past life experiences, your connection to nature's spirits and the environment around you. And all too often in psychedelic legalization, it's almost like super weird how they say, you know, a lot of times you have to be in a room and all that stuff to be like registered proper like psychedelic therapy. And even going as far as saying you can't have retreat centers and do psychedelic therapy. It has to be like in like a certain room. So I don't obviously don't resonate with that. I really feel like being on the side of a river, water spirits, you know, whatever. If you're in a field, you're at fire. I mean, who needs something more than a beautiful fire?
Dude, I couldn't do the hospital bed gurney. Like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? And to be honest, exactly what you just described. There is a TV show that my wife watches called Nine Perfect Strangers with Nicole Kidman. And it's literally about what you just said. She's like taking people on these psychedelic experiences out in this like play. I haven't watched it myself, but from the little bit that I gathered, the concept, it's always trippy when they put these concepts into TV and movies because that's where they are exporting the story. That's where they create the narrative, right? Like once that happens, I'll never forget when my bubble bags were on that show Weeds. The dude Silas had like a head shop, hydro shop or whatever. The son of the mom, the main character. And when you walked in the door, they had a 20-gallon set of bubble bags in a garbage can set up. And I remember seeing that. And I remember having like so many people reach out to me and be like, dude, I saw your bags on Weeds. It was like increased sales. It was like, whoa, these motherfuckers create the narrative. They really control how we think at such a level that it's like, okay, you now have permission to think this because we've put it in a. I mean, remember what cannabis use was in all movies and shows forever? Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. Like, let's do it, bro. That's what cannabis use was for like 35 to 40 years. It was just super derogatory, super insulting, super the opposite of what I know it to be.
It kind of became one with Spicoli.
It was Spicoli, absolutely. It was like
it goes
as
back
dumb
to
as you
Cheech
could
and
be.
Chong, you know, and
100%.
all that. Which is interesting because I actually one time asked Tommy Chong, I was like, you know, as an activist, I have to ask you a question because your movies were so stereotypical and made us look bad. Many activists that I've been on the road with have accused y'all of sabotaging, you know, us cannabis people. And he took a deep hit off of his joint and he says, kid, let me remind you, it was the dark days of, you know, the drug war, and the only way that we could get through was with very silly humor.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I can accept that from you. All right, because you were there, you did it, and you were accused of it. So I can buy that from your life and your experience. But the majority of the people, again, feel like you do. It's like we were made so bad. I don't like a lot of stoner movies. People are like, oh, you must love Half Baked and all these other movies. And there's some funny things in them, but I hate it because of how they portray stoners to be so lazy, stupid, and you know, unmotivated. And look at all the people I'm around, and all the people I work around and with are some of the most intelligent, highly motivated individuals who've literally changed their lives, people's lives around them, and changed literally the world, you know, because you know they were also using cannabis. And the society has taught us, I mean, let's go all the way back to the very successful marijuana assassin of youth, right? It was originally going to turn us loony and we were going to kill people, right? And that's what the movie taught us and showed us. And that was literally how people thought of us for what, 40, almost 50 years, right? Because that's no representation in Hollywood normalized cannabis. So it was just like somebody smoking a cigarette. It always had to be the over accentuated and, you know, the two fingers and hiding and hitting it like, you know, a fiend. Remember? And the guy was hiding it, an assassin from youth, like it was some, you know, devious thing, which we know that it isn't. And it doesn't reflect you, the viewer, because I've smoked with some of y'all and y'all don't act like that. You aren't going out and killing people. You aren't unproductive people, you're productive citizens, right? If we were unproductive and didn't do what we do, it would be much more prevalent in the world, and that's not the case. So again, you're correct, Marcus. Media has its full play because everybody does view it. Dragonfly. I mean, you're. I would prefer to also be out there, but the average person for a recreational thinks taking psychedelics and going to an amusement park is something to do. And we know that that's something
Yeah.
not to do.
And we believe in the fractal of diversity. So it's just to say that you would like to be on the side of a river really doesn't discount the Disneyland LSD trip. It just says, hey, the Riverside River fire experience can be really healing to the spirit, Also, as far as the comedy goes and the breaking down of the walls, I mean, it's you have to look at like vaudeville, and the theater troops of historical, which were always sort of the comic strip or whatever, saying the things that were really not allowed to be said in society to kind of create the conversation around it in order to create intelligence around it and then change laws, so it in a lot of ways it starting with comedy might be a good thing because you just sort of laugh about it and you're like, wait, why is this so funny? But so I appreciate the theater. Life is theater, let's say, but hey, everyone is going on a walk right now, and we're going out into the gardens. We've had an amazing time, and yet Natasha Rise is here, and Dave Remy, and Chimera, and Kelly. We're just having a super good time, showing them gardens and things that they've never seen before, and it's always a cool experience, and they're really amazing people. So we just wanted to share our love with you all today and hope that you all are having a great day. It's super beautiful here. We're giving thanks for the middle of summer and just full abundance and fruits and foods coming, so hope you all are doing well and hope you have a great day. Much love, Caleb, Marcus, ATN, Colin, the rest of everyone in there. Frenchie's Force, nice one.
Yes, indeed.
Shit.
I like
Wanted to give a
that.
quick shout out. This was grown by Daniel Morford.
Give thanks.
Yes,
So much
give
love for
thanks.
Daniel. He just finished his new book, Love is, oh shit, it's not, I'm sorry that I forgot the name of it right now, but it's a brand new manuscript and it's the second book that he's written. And Heart Rock Mountain, Daniel, legacy farmer. Wow. We talk to him all the time and the family just came back. So excellent. Take care of yourselves and have a wonderful day.
Peace out, Josh.
A wonderful day.
I will say, to go back to the comedy, like, man, when I first watched Cheech and Chong, I loved it. I got so much enjoyment out of it. I really did. I guess back then I was probably still of the mentality that, yeah, of course smoking cannabis is bad for you. Yeah, it's like destroying brain cells. I just kind of was like, you know what? I like this. I'm enjoying this, and I just kind of ignored all the negative propaganda. Now, it worked out really good for me because all of that propaganda happened to be bullshit, which is amazing. I mean, that couldn't have worked out any better because it doesn't always work out for people like that after they say drink for 25 years and then they're like, oh, the propaganda against alcohol is bullshit. And then they get like cirrhosis of the liver and they're like, oh shit, it wasn't bullshit. It was actually all factual truth. So I did believe a lot of the propaganda against cannabis, and I guess believing that propaganda allowed me to enjoy the humor of Cheech and Chong as I became more of an activist and became less ignorant and more knowledgeable in regards to some of these things. I saw less of the humor. Like I didn't when he ended up on that show, that 70s show, and he played like the same Chong stoner, that I was like, no, dude, like, yes, 1976, of course, but now something better, like I get it if he had already built that in, but when I saw him on that, I was like, I didn't think that was a good character. And that was because my ignorance had been lifted. So it's interesting how you can see the world differently if you just learn a little bit and you go down these rabbit holes and yeah, you can lift some of your ignorance. I'm sure I'm still ignorant in many other aspects, but hey, I've got many years to learn new things.
I agree. You know, just for you know, um, historical sake, I cut my teeth on Up in Smoke. I thought that shit was hilarious before I even knew what cannabis was or is, right? And I agree. I think it just comes with an education over time that you're just like, yeah, okay, you see through it, right? It no longer becomes funny, and so that's just, again, you're correct. I had that same perspective change. To Marcus, have you ever done you should do a run of bubble bag too, because this is very comfortable. It's actually, I have my Phrygian cap is made of the opposite side of my Phrygian cap, of course, is pot leaves,
Yeah.
and it's the same material that this is made of. So I would love, if you ever do, I'm gonna request a custom one because I would love to have a little bubble bag logo on and rep it out at an event or something like that. You should do a little line of hats, man. This is a comfortable, and it's warm, and just saying. I know it's like, oh Jesus, ATN, just what I need, another fucking skew in my life. However, it's comfortable, and if you actually did an official one in that way, because otherwise the bubble bag logo's upside down on my head. Is all I'm saying.
Yes. I will get right on that. I do. I know Uplifted Meds. There's a group on Instagram who take my old bubble bags and they make hoodies. Josh has one of the hoodies and pants,
Oh,
and they
they
make
do. That's
hats.
great.
Yeah, they make all sorts. They make crazy, like embroidered, like cowboy hats with bubble bags like embedded in there. Like it's really crazy shit. Uplifted Meds with a Z, MEDZ, and yeah, just
So, Caleb, yesterday you were with us, of course, at Wade's. It was wonderful to see you and meet your fiance. Absolutely beautiful. And I take it that you left and went to the California State Fair competition,
Indeed.
since you
To the
were a
Cal
judge.
Expo.
You were so we don't get many judges from state competitions on Hash Church necessarily to talk to. So could you maybe explain what went down, how you got it, what was testing like? Because kind of give a behind the scenes view of what it's like to be an actual person who samples cannabis for a state fair in the United States.
Sure. So this is the fourth year that the state fair has had cannabis awards. In the first year, in the first 2 years, they worked just with SC Labs and awarded medals, gold and silver, or awarded golden bears to the top testers in categories like total cannabinoids, highest THC, highest CBD, um, and highest terpene content in, I think, like 6 of the 8 terpene categories. And in the third year, the state fair partnered with Buddhist to add a human layer of judging on top of that um, lab testing layer. And so all of the winners in the terpene categories were then assembled and then blinded by Embark, the dispensary partner, and those are given to the flower judges. And then from there, in each of the 3 flower categories, indoor, outdoor, and mixed light, the judges would choose just the best in class, which is the Golden Bear Award. And so at the award show, which happened yesterday, all of the medal winners had already been announced. So farmers came from all over the state to pick up their medals and then to sit at the award show to find out who won the best in class. And this year and last year, it's not just flower, so there's plenty of other categories. And last year they hadn't separated solventless into like rosin and more traditional hash yet, but this year they did. And so there was like a proper melt category. And it's interesting because the flower is the only category that is blinded, which is something that is, typically thought of as a standard now in competitions. And for all the other stuff, like the concentrates, like the cartridges, like the wellness products, like the edibles, they still don't have a way to blind those for the competition. And we're seeing this, in a lot of other places as well. And so when the judges look at their, pool of items, they're judging it on a 100-point scale. And then all those scores are input into a spreadsheet, and then they're averaged. And then the judges then come together, and based on their scores, they'll have like what the group thinks is the best based on the numbers. And then they can have a discussion, kind of talk to each other about, oh, maybe all 5 of the judges chose something for second place, but they all had different ones for first place. And, that could be a discussion of which one is actually the group's favorite. That's a really specific example that kind of shows, that kind of group interaction that makes it so that you don't have one judge having an outsized impact, which sometimes happens. And I've now, like, through the research that we've been doing, heard so much about how cups can go wrong, like the various different ways that things have gone wrong in the past where certain companies have bought their way to awards. And it's very interesting to be able to see this event, since it's a state sanctioned event. It's technically the only one that I know of, like, period, because the California State Fair is one of the only state fairs that's actually mandated by the Constitution of the state. And so, like, the grounds that this event is on is, like, written into the Constitution of the state. It's very much a different type of event in terms of the people that are showing up. Like, when I was walking around as cannabis media and noticing that there's really not that many cannabis media there, it's because it's ABC walking around with, like, the big ass camera. And the people that are going in there are just lots of like that person is emailing amateurs, but also a lot of heady heads. And throughout the event, the awards are really, like, just a small part of it. They've really separated out the cannabis awards from the California cannabis experience. And of, like, the 100,000 plus people that attend the event over 17 days, the cannabis experience is becoming, like, a larger part, and normalization and destigmatization are kind of like the top order of the hour. So it's a fun time. I wish you were there, but it was
Man, I wish I was
very long
there.
day.
Sounds amazing. I love the idea of the heady heads with the amateurs. Like, those are the very people that you're supposed to think about it. If it was an apple contest, or if it was any type of food, agriculture, something growing, pumpkins, whatever. Well, the amateurs are the newbies that are coming in, that are inspired, and they're trying to, do the same thing. And then they get to meet the people who have like 10, 20, 30, 40 years of experience. They get new genetics. They get to connect with people that are at this much higher level of the very same thing that the journey that they're on. That is the perfect place to create mentorship, to create relationships for mentorship. And people are always like, I don't know where I can find a mentor. Well, California State Fair sounds like a good spot if you're into growing cannabis.
So I forgot the coolest thing is that since the awards are working with a dispensary partner, all of the medal winners actually get guaranteed shelf space for the rest of the year. And so, like, that's something that I think more competitions are going to slowly work towards, or that's always been, like, one of the underlying drives to enter competitions. And not only that, but there's on-site sales and on-site consumption at the state fair in the designated area. So, you can actually go buy your corn dog, go to the area, buy some weed, smoke it, and eat your corn dog. And, like, you can experience the award-winning weed, like you were saying, and then talk to the farmer that grew it, right? Like, especially in California, where there are so many mandated middlemen that, like, are literally placed there by the state to prevent the consumer, the medical patient, from being able to talk to the farmer, the breeder, to fully understand how to use the product, why the product is different, the plant, not the product. It really is a opportunity for mentorship, just like you're saying, at all levels, not just like two users or two growers, but that cross-pollination between them.
It's awesome. Sounds incredible.
No,
Maybe
that's
next year.
yeah, thank you for giving us a peel behind the veil, because I've been an ambassador. And so we, as ambassadors, all we've been able to do is promote it. We haven't been able to sample it. Whereas you and I I was a Emerald Cup judge. And so what we were doing is exactly that, basing it off of a system and then having series of meetings together of the other judges. Some were new users. Everybody was really experienced, a user for the most part, but not at necessarily, some were not at the competition level. So it was, it can be intimidating, because you're talking with other stoners. I did my best to relax people and, add humor to it, but it's really integral to not only be able to sample the product, which was, I found a frustration those first couple of years there at the state fair, because there wasn't. Because there's something just, having science test it, again, I have no issue with, but, just because the numbers are what they are, doesn't mean it's going to cross over to the human experience, right? So I think it's very important, and I'm very thankful that California has gone in that direction of having human sampling of the products. And then, of course, on top of that, having access to the farmer, and now be able to sample or take home some of that product, is exactly what the state fair does for every normal, regular product, right? So that type of cross normalization is going and taking cannabis a step forward, because it's going to allow, hopefully, county competitions, right, that can step up to be, because California State Fair is kind of bypassing the system that most competition people at the state fair are doing. They have one at the county level to elevate themselves, usually to that state level. And so there are not currently, just for the viewer, there's not currently county competitions happening to elevating cannabis to this level. Cannabis is just being submitted at the state level across the board. And then the numbers are getting you into that first, second, and third, which is gold, silver, and bronze. And then Caleb and the group Buddhist are actually ingesting the cannabis and the different, how many different categories did y'all sample this year, compared to, I know it was flowers and some concentrates, but I know this year you had carts and different types of concentrates. Can you explain that?
I think it was like 20 or 30. They had split up even the carts, like solvent versus solventless, and even within the solvent, they split that into subcategories of terpenes added versus not terpenes added. And it's like a solvent cartridge won the entire thing. And because, it was the only product on the entire market that featured those genetics from that breeder. And yeah, and it wasn't a genetic that washes, unfortunately. And so, there's very interesting things. And like the best in class for the flower went to a flower that only won a bronze for, so it wasn't the highest terpene count, or when it wasn't the highest cannabinoid count, that ended up being the judges' favorites. So there's all these things that very much to me highlight that the competition is working as it should be.
And that's, I hope it can be replicated, or at least y'all can go forth and educate other states, so that it can, go that way, or even other countries, because Canada doesn't have these types of competitions. You know what I'm saying? I know that, I'm very proud of the state of California to be able to do that, but I know it's originally kind of started in Oregon. Oregon was really the first state to do, a competition, but they haven't really taken it in this direction. So I commend California for at least, moving it along quickly. to where, initially it was just to get the foot in the door to see how the reaction was, right? And the reaction from the public was overwhelmingly, yes, to the point where, they were selling originally CBD drinks on site, right? And I think the fair saw quickly, okay, nobody went crazy from the CBD drinks. So, they allowed THC, and then last year they allowed sales and consumption of actual, THC products, not just the drinks. So they've kind of taken progressive and quicker than I anticipated progressive steps, which I think is encouraging. But I think is something that we may see replicated in other states, right? They may not be able to swallow what you're doing currently, right? But getting the testing and getting that, the labs to do it, is a easier entry point, right, for some of these states or competitions, because again, you're using science to make the decider, because again, we know how previous competitions had been, tainted in one way, shape, or form. You giving us this view of what's happening inside of California's competition is a ray of hope for many people, of course, including Californians. Thanks.
I hope that's a good ray of hope. So the awards and that California cannabis experience, the people that put that together, James Lights and Lauren Carpenter, Fair Play Ventures, they actually like took that exhibit to a international like fair competition, and the California cannabis like experience was awarded as like the top, like fair display on an international level. So and then the awards are an integral part of that whole experience. So very much, I think the model is being seen on an international level, and fingers crossed that this happens at a lot of places. And there are, like you were predicting, counties that are trying to get their like qualifier status, like they have with all the other agricultural commodities. And so, in particular, Lake County and Trinity County, like really heavy historical cannabis counties, there are these types of competitions sprouting up at the county fairs too. It's awesome.
And so what Caleb and them are doing by testing, and then so as I stated earlier, the gold, silver, and bronze, the highest award is the golden bear, and so their human testing selects the golden bear, and that of course is the prestigious award, which is I believe given away yesterday, and that was happening at the awards, right? Any notables to speak of or towards who won golden bears?
So there was a new cultivar that won mixed light flower that was blueberry caviar from Ridgeline Farms, and that was bred by Jason Gelman's father. And so, they accepted that golden bear. Jason was up there saying, this is on behalf of all of Southern Humboldt. The indoor flower went to Cam for their Super Silver Haze. So, it was proper Super Silver Haze, and to have that grown indoors is, the classic way, I guess. And for the outdoor flower, the Golden Bear winner was the same winner as last year, the Pink Bruce Goddess from Emerald Spirit Botanicals. And it was distinctly different than it was last year. And I've heard of other
Can you explain the
competitions.
differences, or are they conveyable?
So from what I heard, like the THCV percentage is noticeably different by like at least several percentage points. The like the amount of osamine in it ended up being like the way different. And yeah, like there is that. I'm always very curious to hear people who feel like the first year that you run a seed plant versus when you start running its clones in production, or the second or third year, like those types of changes that happen, or maybe it's just the scaling up, but it was distinctly different in a good way. And I've heard now like distinct stories of big competitions where, all the judges judge the blind stuff. They come up with a winner, and then the person who's organizing the cup will come down and say, "Oh, that farmer won last year. He can't win again." And, like to know that that is for sure not happening here is a good sign to me.
Was the whitethorn rose entered in the fair? Did Huckleberry enter?
That is a great question. So Huckleberry won a lot in like pre-rolls and whatnot, but because of the way this competition is set up, and this is something that Johnny and I have talked about, he's expressed to me, is that like technically Whitethorn Rose ends up getting disqualified, you could say, because of the way that the testing layer is set up. So by no way is this competition perfect yet. There are, other types of cultivars and other types of farmers that have been like left out because of certain rules that are in place. And, there's always room for improvement. And that's something that as a judge and as someone who's, getting closer to the competition, I'm pushing for that at all times. But really, like, because it is a selenodiene dominant plant, and that isn't one of the terpene categories, it doesn't end up on the list of blinded flower that we get to try.
Well, so
Damn.
how do we change that? What do we do to shed light on this injustice?
It's I do view it as an injustice, but I do understand from SC Labs end that there are limitations to the amount of testing that they can do. There are limitations to, the vital facts that they have licensed. Like there are limitations there that frankly I think that we should be able to push through. It would just take some, like dedicated effort on SC Labs part to really catch up with the times. Love Alex, saw him yesterday.
No, but I mean, we should be able to criticize, and as we are here, and when we are met with boundaries, exactly that. How do we push through them? How do we level that levee so that it's no longer an obstacle for somebody? Because they should have been able to be in that competition, and due to a technical shenanigan, right? It cost somebody an opportunity, and that's unfair, right? Or we view that as such.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because if there's one thing the cannabis culture like really has in its life, but is like a honor among thieves. That's not the right term, but like there is a moral code associated with being here that yeah, fairness is part of it.
I just opened Nightbot, so I'm going to give these bags away in about 25 minutes. So if you type something in at or after 10:45, you'll be entered. And at 11, I'll choose the winner for this set of 2-gallon, 8 bags. Let's see, we got the 25 over here. We got the 45, the 73, the 90, the 120, the 160, the 190. And the 220. They're all there. They are all there. Wow. I guess I should make sure these are clean. Imagine that. Send a set of bags to someone and just have them be dirty. Here's the thing. My bags are never dirty. I'm so OCD that you would never know if my bags were used after I used them because I clean them so well. But I see people, wow, that really don't. And it becomes just a catchment for like a microbial contamination. If you let the hash build up, sometimes hash gets into the piping on the bottom of these bags, and it'll just get jammed in through this tiny little hole. And I've seen people's bags where there's like literally a couple grams of hash. And I'm like, man, like I would soak this in a solvent and get rid of all of that and then clean them. And then ideally use cold water to clean them without letting them get a buildup like that ever again. But welcome to Dr. Mark, who's in the house.
Hey, Marcus.
Sporting a very fine Jerry Garcia hand hat.
Yes.
It's got all the kind of swag, dude.
What is worse than dirty bags, right?
Well, you know what? And people will be like, dude, I lent my bags to my buddy and they came back all fucked up. I'm like, oh, like when you lent him your tent? Dude, exactly. Should have learned, bro. You don't lend people bags, just like you don't lend people tents. They fuck
It's
them
like
up.
lending somebody your swimsuit.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
right. I mean, is it that personal, right? I don't know. Could be, right?
Well, people just don't seem to care for the bags if they haven't shelled out the money. They're just like, oh, they're just bags. It's like, oh, what do I got to do? It's like, well, you got to like clean them obsessively, like make sure that the resin in the water, which is like invisible, isn't drying and becoming sticky. You can
Right.
really affect a set of bags in a negative way. And honestly, it happens to a smaller group of people than often. Because if you're running swag through your bags, that stuff cleans off easy. But if you're running like the 6-star melt through your bags and you don't know, and you let that shit like melt, and like I've seen people take 6-star out of the bag and like start pressing it and then put it on a pressing screen and just like rolling it into a pressing screen. And then they opened it up and it was just like bubble gum that someone chewed. It was in the screen. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah,
What do I
Sam would
do?
say it. Cleanliness is next to godliness,
He
right?
would. He
Sam
would
would
say
say
that.
that, right?
Yeah. I gotta find that quote actually, because I need that. I have howdy howdy as my ringtone right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyone that wants the howdy howdy audio, let me know. I've got it in WAV and MP3. And it's a beautiful thing. It's nice to hear Sam say howdy howdy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, send me a copy of that. I'd want that for a few things for sure.
I need that.
Right? Don't you need
Yeah,
that? That's
we got to
that's
get
our
that.
boy, man.
Caleb, we got to get that in the hands of some hip hop rapster who can sample it.
Yes.
Howdy, howdy. It's just put
Right?
it into some jams, right? Come on, let's go.
Here, this one's for you, Dr. Mark. Oh, wait, actually, I didn't do it right. First, you got to go share sound. I've just learned how to share sound on Zoom.
Howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy.
There it is. A howdy howdy from the man himself. Can't wait to get
Yeah.
a bunch of Wade as well.
Sit down at the keyboard and find out what key that's in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get guitar over here or something.
No, it's
Hey,
beautiful.
Caleb, good to see you again, man. How you been?
Good to see you as well, Dr. Mark. Been well, been well.
Awesome. Did you get a chance to go to Wade's thing?
I did indeed.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I didn't I wasn't able to attend, but I've been listening to the whole episode. So I heard well what you guys said earlier. I'll have to go check it out. Yeah, and I think what Colin said was particularly touching, right? Like how how David, aka Sam, and Wade were so different, right? They were just very, very different people, but they were both, you know, those those spirits, those people you meet in your life. Maybe you're going to meet 5 of those people in your life, right? Maybe. I don't know.
If you're
Is your
lucky.
dad one? I'll bet you, Bubble Man, your dad was one, right? Well, one of those 5
My
people
dad
you
was definitely one of those 5
probably
people.
think of those 5 people in your life. And right. So how many people again do you meet in your life, yet alone there's like 5 that really have this tremendous impact on your direction and are your inspiration.
They were like tied different, right? Same, but different.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not hard to imagine. Jerry was one of mine, you know. Jerry, well, following the Grateful Dead around taught me about adventure, and it taught me about sometimes you just have to, all their songs about dice and playing cards, loser and deal and all that. It's all about a game of chance, right? And there's a lot of things in life where it's just a random roll of the dice, Like there's you don't know how you just don't know how your life's going to go. Like there's different forks in the road where you choose one thing and you don't choose another, and your entire life is different from that point forward, right? And you don't know it at the time, right? Like you could look back in retrospect and look at those times, and yeah, so I'm, reminiscing, a little nostalgic. You know, July the 9th was the last time we saw Jerry alive at a Grateful Dead show. That was July 9th, 1995. And I think
God, he
everyone
made
knows,
it
like,
so close to 710.
Yeah, he did, right.
Damn.
And I asked my wife to marry me the previous night at Soldier Field during Althea, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, when you go back and you think about it, it's like, oh my God, that was 30 fucking years ago. I mean,
Did you
that's a
get married that
lifetime.
year? Did you get married in
We got
95?
married in 96. We got
Okay,
married,
very cool.
yeah, engaged
Because
in
I was
95,
married
married.
in 95.
Okay. Okay. But like, just Marcus, God, that was a lifetime ago. I was before the millennium, right? It's just I don't know. Think about it. We traversed the millennium, buddy. I mean, it's
I
crazy,
know. I remember
right? Like,
Y2K, people freaking out. I was like, don't worry
Planes
about
are
it.
gonna fall out of the
They're gonna
sky.
fall out of the sky. They're eating the cats and dogs.
They're
but
gonna
you
lose. The computer's gonna shit the bed. We don't know what's gonna happen if the one's gonna turn into a zero, or we're gonna lose our minds. Oh my god! And
do
then
you remember?
2012.
Do you remember?
Remember
Do you
the
remember?
apocalypse in 2012 that were gonna happen due to the Mayan calendar ending? Yeah, remember that one?
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember it.
But do you remember growing up last century and thinking, gee, when it turns 2000, for me, I was born in 62, so I'm going to be 37 years old. I used to think, that's such a line in the sand, right? Like, how old were you when the century turned, right? Like, that was like such a big thing when we were growing up. I don't know. I used to
I
think
was
about it all the time.
27. I was at that age that all
Yeah.
the famous rock stars die at.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But I
All the
wasn't a
good
famous
ones.
rock star, so I wasn't worried at all.
Yeah, you weren't going to die.
I was gonna keep it
Oh my
going,
gosh.
man. I was gonna keep it
But
going.
yeah, I mean, so Wade, yeah, definitely was, the spirit of giving. His quote there was really cool about commercialized and not legalized. And there's a lot of truth to that, right, Marcus? I mean, and ATN, you know this better than anyone sitting here that, the almighty dollar and, what's going on in the hemp world, with these beverages and everything that, can cross state lines, this whole THCA game that everything's playing. There's a lot of deep pockets behind this, a lot of people making a lot of money. This beverage thing is these people who've gotten in are well funded. They have huge factories and they have fleets of trucks
Dude, they
and
run the beverage market for the
they
world.
run the beverage market, right? And
How
so for
about
them,
that?
cannabis is just another flavor. It's like another thing. It's just another SKU in the truck, right? So for them, it totally makes sense. Bolt this thing on. And 18, what you were saying earlier was really, really interesting. I was approached by this group of folks from the Maha movement. Again, not a big fan of Robert Kennedy myself, but I guess Robert Kennedy is again behind getting data to show efficacy of cannabinoids and wants to fund research in this area. So we're keenly interested in, you know, getting funding for research. But I mean, is this part of like what you're hearing too? Is that they want to kind of beeline cannabis in terms of making it therapeutically accessible, not just veterans, but everybody? I mean, is this what you?
There's rumor control behind the scenes. There are talks, there is discussions. There are, of course, these are attempted deflections of ongoing things politically. But yes, there are shapings behind the scenes, especially behind psychedelics.
Yes.
There are not the stigma, nor until recently, there were not the Schedule One, cock blocking, so to say, for research and researchers until that roadblock was just reinstituted, I'm aware of. So we're going to see some things coming down the pike. Again, through our FOIA requests that we're doing at the Veterans Action Council, we're uncovering all kinds of interesting things that going to be releasing various articles, about especially how one of the main things we had was one study, which is, I guess, the rock study that everybody throughout the veterans Health Administration had been using is just this one particular study, because I used a FOIA request and got it. And of this 2,444 page dump, this one study has been replicated 12 times in my FOIA request from every senator, representative, etc. And we need to expose, because they went through 10,000 studies, broke it down to 2 finally, and out of those 2 they realized one was compromised, or at least ethically, that they felt that it did not, or it was too much metadata, that they only had this one study. And it's again another metadata study, and we're going to expose it for that. But that's really been used as the really kind of a catch-all around cannabis use disorder, which we're exposing as well, which of course every veteran has been kind of painted with that swath again, because it was added in DSM-5 in 2013. And we're seeing things that show we've seen an increased use in cannabis use disorder since 2012. Well, yeah, because you coined the phrase in 2013. You see what I'm saying? And now you're actually diagnosing it. So what was cannabis abuse or cannabis disorder is now cannabis use disorder. And so now you're just using these semantics to justify withholding of that money. And so that's what we're helping these politicians understand, is that they've been using a very thin veil. And if you actually look behind the curtain, it's just one study standing there being used to manipulate the entire system as a whole. And we're going to expose that. So that's just one of those things. And hopefully this administration or others will take this data and get past, the House passing a bill to help us veterans to get actual, and then it dies in the Senate, which is about to happen again, that hopefully we'll actually get it so that doctors can recommend it. But yeah, one of the things we did see, Dr. Sheldon, is outright is that there were and are only 5 human studies ongoing since 2017 regarding cannabis. That's it. And that's pathetic. And that's small. And so out of these FOIA requests, we're getting these doctors. And so we're actually reaching out to these doctors who are in these studies, and we're actually trying to bring them in to have conversations with us so we can ask them the questions about, why did you do this study? What was the metadata? Why this specific? You use these search points, all using every word for cannabis, but only coming up with this. Why? And then, just to kind of really kind of hold their feet to the fire, and then help us point, because I have a younger generation of researchers who want to know where to take that direction. We can take their mistakes and put it into, quicker succession, so they don't have that, stagnation, right? So that we can keep this potato hot, right, and moving through research. Or at least that's my hope, or that's what we're trying to do behind the scenes. But
Well,
I don't trust this administration like any politician, but hopefully there's some hope. But I don't trust them.
yeah, the guy I talked to was a representative of a veterans group, and he wanted to know. Well, so I guess what they did, ATN, is they went through LinkedIn, and they went through the literature, and they found people who were doing research in cannabinoids, and they were reached out to with this funding announcement saying that Health and Human Services is earmarking $150 million to doing cannabinoid efficacy work that they're actually it's interesting because they're going to repeat stuff that's already been done in the literature, but they want to do it at a place, again, where it's funded by, in this case, the government, not funded by a company, or not funded by, even when you're getting stuff funded by National Institutes of Health, it can be pretty political, because you have basically a study section full of professors and entrepreneurs and experts in the area who are basically deciding who and who does not get funding. I guess the point is that this Maha initiative, which is what it's been referred to, is that they're looking at the stability of phytocannabinoids in certain formulations. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, well, shit, what do chemists do when they want to stabilize something? A lot of things that are stable are unsaturated. And what they do is they hydrogenate it. You hydrogenate the cannabinoids, you're going to make them more stable. So I was thinking again, just on an inkling that they might be interested. So we have a patent on HHCA, which is hydrogenated THCA. And we have some really interesting data that shows that HHCA is more potent than THCA in killing cancer cells. And this is really super exciting because you couldn't have predicted this until you actually did the work. But basically, what it says, I mean, the premise is that whatever THCA can do, and THCA has got a wonderful profile in terms of its anti-analgesic or as an analgesic, anti-inflammatory. This isn't an above and addition to what THC does at the cannabinoid 1 receptor. This is what THCA does. And if you remember, Etienne, Mishulam's last work was showing that CBDA has almost 1,000 times more efficacy at some of these targets in the body, as does CBD itself. The problem with CBDA is it's extremely prone to decarboxylation. So the last thing Mishulam was working on is he made the methyl ester of CBDA. And so one of the things that my students are doing in my lab right now is they're making esters of HHCA. So it's our premise that whatever THCA can do, HHCA can do potentially better. But again, that's just a hypothesis. We need funding and we need research done to basically prove this.
And then human data to back that up.
So, and the other thing, and so because this guy was a veteran, Etienne, he was really keyed into this idea. So this is an idea we talked about this on Hash Church. It's so cool to be able to reference a Hash Church episode when I'm talking to scientists and regulators. I'm like, okay, you need to look at this Hash Church from, and they're like, Hash Church,
Like,
what the
what?
fuck is
What?
like? They're like, okay, we'll look at that, right? So this is something that we talked about when we were talking about emulsions and nano emulsions. So and you know what's really cool down at CanMed? I spent time with Harold Hahn. I know Caleb, you know Harold, right? Harold Hahn is the happy chemist from Vertosa. Oh my God. Him and me were like two peas in a pod. He kept on dosing my drinks. He had this little squirt bottle full of emulsion following me around and making sure my drinks were good in gas. So I was really happy. But the really cool thing, I mean, this is just like so cool to think about. So with the nano emulsions, and Harold's got data to show this, is that again, we've talked about this on Hash Church. Nano emulsions increase the bioavailability of the cannabinoids. And they do so because they're able to penetrate through cell walls and they're able to basically deliver the cannabinoids to where they really are effective. And that's why even like myself, who's a THC user, if I drink half of a 10 milligram beverage, I could feel it because it's nano emulsified. It's a different form of THC. It's fast acting. So Harold and I kind of
Let's say though, not all nano is the same. It's all different. And I will also say that depending on what you've emulsified, whether it's, distillate or live resin or live rosin, that also makes a very big difference in the effects of it.
Everything you're saying is absolutely true. Like what you put in the cargo hold of these particles and emulsions are, extremely important. But like, I guess what we're interested in doing, so obviously what Harold and Vertosa is doing is they're applying this emulsification technology to cannabinoids, getting beverage companies started. So now you see this explosion literally of beverages across the country. Cool. Vertosa is again one of the reasons why that's possible because they're providing this emulsification technology. But like what can you do with that medically? And where is it important? So in traumatic brain injury, or our hypothesis is that cannabinoids, CBD and other cannabinoids in part, maybe these cannabinoid acids, right, which right now can't be delivered across the blood-brain barrier unless they're inside a particle like a nanoparticle or a nanoemulsion. Or like you've talked about before, Marcus, I mean, liposomes any type of way of that you can take an oil formulation, an oil soluble thing like a cannabinoid, and emulsify it so it's soluble in an aqueous format. And now again, you deliver that transnasally right after the injury happens. The reduction in neuroinflammation could result in, again, a better outcome for that patient who's having to deal with traumatic brain injury. So, 18, they were really interested in that. And again, I think it's like when you talk to a veteran about traumatic brain injury, they bring a completely different perspective to it. And this guy is like, oh, Mark, he's like, can you send me like a one page? So I sent him, basically, I have a one pager that just basically describes the technology or describes the need that we have. We need this data to basically get this stuff into humans. And that's like a $1 million ask. And so, yeah, I sent it off to them. So we'll see what happens.
That's amazing,
Well,
man. I got to give
there's-
these bags away. Let me put you on hold for 2
All right.
minutes maximum, because someone out there right now, there's 112 entries, is going to win these bubble bags. So that is a hat that you can wear, a pillow that you can sleep on, and some bags that you can hash with. Get your hash on. Get the hash out of here. I'm about to give away some bubble bags. This is happening. I'm going to throw this sticker in there too. You know what? Maybe I'll just throw this ounce of hash in too. No, I'm just joking. I can't do that. In a perfect world, though, in a perfect world, I'm pretty sure I can give an ounce of hash away in Canada. I think it's 28 grams that you can just give someone, which is, I think, personally, the best part of our sort of regulatory framework, the 4 plants, the medical license, the recreational stores, all of the different things we got in Canada. I think that one of the best things for sure is that. So let's give these bags away. 10:59. We got 125 entries right now. You guys can see this on the screen, correct? I'm about to choose a winner for the 2-gallon 8-bag bubble bag kit. Here we go.
Good luck, everybody.
Tigro. Following status is unknown, but Tigro, you are indeed the winner. You did win. So I'm going to take a picture of that. Please send me an email as soon as you can, Mr. Tigro. And then we're going to do a little press club giveaway as well. So we have 136 entries here. I'm just going to re-share the screen. And so Tigro, you won. You timed it right. Please send me an email immediately so that I can get you to say something in chat. Once I confirm that, I'll know that it's you, and I will send you these bags personally. And then the next one will be sent via the good folks at the Press Club.
There he is.
There he is.
Tigro says yay.
I see that. Awesome. Hopefully he's a subscriber too. If you're not, subscribe. Unless you don't want to, and then definitely don't. I'm choosing a winner for the Press Club. This could be some rosin bags. This could be a spoon. Go check out the Press Club, thepressclub.co. You can get a discount if you don't win using the code HashChurch, but we're going to choose a winner right now for those guys as well. So, bam. OG Brick 420. Can you imagine? OG Brick 420, dude. That's fucking awesome. Good for you. Good for you. All right. Sorry, Etienne. You can get back to answering Dr. Mark, and I will focus on the chat where I'm going to try and get these emails sent in from.
OG Brick is a OG in the chat. He's been in the chat forever, right?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's great stuff. All right. Well, to your point, Dr. Saldone, Stephen Philpott is actually doing studies right now with the Coast Guard and them regarding TBIs and anandamide levels, because he's helping educate them specifically on why anandamide levels matter. And the thing that he was, of course, telling us and teaching us about is even the dinghies and the boats that they're going out on are causing some of these veterans to have TBIs just from riding
Right.
in the boats, unfortunately. And so there are, studies ongoing, and I'm proud to know him as well as to hear what he's doing, because he's also going to be working with the Navy SEALs and people like that regarding, water entry and getting TBIs from that on top of riding on the boat. So it's, yeah, very interesting information. And regarding that, we have been working with and alongside the Iraqi and Afghanistan Veterans of America lately. They have come to us, and one of the things that they are specifically interested in is because, of course, the GWAT veterans, the Greater World on Terror veterans, the post 9/11 veterans have been suffering from a lot of traumatic brain injuries. And of course, due to the new battlefield and drones and drone explosions, etc., TBIs are not going away. So we got wind of a particular THC nasal spray that is being used by our allies in the Czech Republic, Germany, and in Israel. And we're trying to get hold of that. And our friends at the IAVA, needless to say, are all over that. So there exists, but we just don't know the name of the mucosal spray that's supposedly a THC dominant spray that is given to a TBI sufferer within the golden hour. And that's what's currently in the medic pack. So we're trying to get access to the medic packs of our combat medics as well. Since our allies have it, we should be able to have that same thing, because our veterans are suffering, unfortunately, predominantly from traumatic brain injuries, and they, of course, follow the veteran to the grave, unfortunately. So if we're able to stop that and stave that off, but also, Dr. Sheldon, if you can find out what that medication is, and then we can find out what that pharmaceutical company is, then
Right.
there's the way to then create that fully cannabinoid rich nanomolecule on top of THC, and then see
Right.
what that combination does work. Because we saw Dr. Mishulin's work said a joint seems to, within that golden hour, seems to make the difference, would of course give us, right, I'm a lay scientist here, but it would tell me that the full spectrum, right, that full ensemble effect seems to would be better than just the THC alone, or seems to have an effect that he thought was worthwhile. But THC has been the isolated molecule for now. But I agree that what you're talking about, and if there are other, medications that are more sound that are found to come through it, like the urhydroxynation,
Yeah. Yeah.
then, it should have already been in our medic packs yesterday. Sorry to be so long-winded, but there's a lot of levels of where you're walking and talking about. We're walking those steps. So I would be happy to call you in and assist on some of the things we'll be working on in the future. But the other thing I wanted to say was regarding Wade, is that my group, Veterans Action Council, we've taken the decision to, we're going to host a side event at the United Nations for the in March of next year, and it's going to be specifically on Wade. So I actually talk um, Forrest about coming and finding other patients who have been touched by Wade, and we're going to finance them to the United Nations, and we're going to host a side event in Wade's honor at the United Nations by bringing forth the patients that he helped and helping world leaders understand the medication. That's the best way that we found that we could honor him, besides, social media posts, etc., was to actually take that to the United Nations and let the world know about Wade, since he touched the world.
Yeah, no, thanks for your comment. I mean, yeah, I think that one of the things I just, want to bring to the table there, I mean, I think that the fast acting aspect is really key, especially in traumatic brain injury, is like it's gotta act quickly, and it has to really be able to penetrate and be able to maintain a certain concentration throughout the brain. So I think I'd mentioned previously that we'd worked with this group in Minnesota that are specialists in this intranasal type delivery kind of technology for treating other brain disorders like Alzheimer's. And so, like, when we considered, could we do this for TBI? They're like, oh, the question really becomes is, what is the right drug cocktail, because think of like the nano emulsions, sort of like the Trojan horse, right? We're slipping something into the brain, right? And what's inside could be a potent, you know, chemotherapeutic agent, could be a cannabinoid, could not be a cannabinoid, could be a hydrogenated cannabinoid. But maybe, again, since there's so many different possibilities here, this is where you could potentially use AI to come up with an algorithm to look at maybe some of the principal targets that these compounds hit. And you could look at that in a high throughput way where you're actually not injecting them into the, brains of mice just yet. You're trying to identify before you get to that stage, what kind of compound would be efficacious at what level, and even combining those. So this group in Minnesota, like I said, had looked at transnasal delivery of insulin to treat neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's. And the fact is that insulin actually works. It actually is effective, but because it's not a proprietary active ingredient, insulin is just a generic protein molecule. They weren't going to make 50 billion. They were only going to make $2 billion. So they decided to just put this drug on the shelf, even though it works, right? I mean, it's not available now. But so certainly the idea is that you can put different drugs and different agents into these emulsions and into these formulations. And maybe cannabinoids are the trick. I don't know. I mean, I think what we do know is that they are neuroprotective and that they quench reactive oxygenated species. So, in the inflammatory process, there's a variety of things that happen, including the release of these pro-inflammatory cytokines. And some very recent research shows that things like CBGA, I mean, this is really, again, just reaching into the cannabinoid, bag of tricks. Here's CBGA, right? Non-psychoactive. It's in the acidic form, completely shuts down something called store operated calcium entry, SOCE. And the reason why that's important is because that is an important flux of calcium into the cell to generate a pro-inflammatory response by releasing these pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-2, interleukin-2, and tumor necrosis factor alpha. These are all things that the body is actually on immune system overdrive and is releasing to try to combat some type of what it perceives either as a virus or some type of invasion, right? We remember talking about cytokine storm during the treatment of COVID. And then what we know is that because cannabinoids kind of reduce or get you back towards homeostasis, right? It puts that cytokine storm thing in balance, which is part of its reason why cannabinoid therapies can be useful in treating COVID. Now you find out that actually CBD inhibits the binding of the COVID protein to the spike proteins to the body. So there's all kinds of reasons why we'd want to use different cannabinoids and look at different effects, because like the CBGA, who grows weed with CBGA in it? CBGA, if you're finding CBGA in your weed, that probably means that you haven't taken those plants to full maturity. But now that there's these varieties, CBG and CBGA are widely available. We know that there's all kinds of GI health that CBG can help with and CBGA. And now, like I said, this group discovered that it shuts down this very important calcium current that's basically underpinning the inflammatory response. And this could potentially describe why cannabinoids themselves are anti-inflammatory. So really exciting stuff that's out there.
We'd like to cover that paper if there is a paper. Dr. Allen and I are always looking for new things to cover, and we've covered a lot of what you just spoke about in regards to cytokine storms, in regards to just a whole bunch of impossible shit that you can't imagine that are all like patents and papers that are just right there for you to read. But the scientific jargon is so confusing for the majority of people that It's like you just want someone like Dr. Allen to just be like, this is what this study is saying. This is what ended up happening. And it's not just for, it does a lot of different things. Like the aspect of inhibiting access to the cell is an incredible one. The one that we did on scarring of the heart for stroke and heart attack victims and how much less scarring there was, dead tissue on, it was 66% less dead tissue on the heart than the one that didn't get given the CBD. So
Wow.
pretty profound shit. And then it also has something to do with regulating VEGF, which
Yeah.
can be overabundant in the production of tumors and create like its own circulatory system within the tumor, like literally building little pathways to move blood back and forth faster to hyperize these cancers and to grow these tumors super quick. I don't have a full understanding of it, but I've listened to Dr. Allen talk about it enough times that and he's breaking it down in a sort of simple Simon way, like, hey, like, okay, we're not all, MDs or whatever, PhDs, like just break it down for people so they can understand it in a sort of easy way. And that's what we do on our show, the Cannabis Journal Club.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. Marcus, as you know, I mean, you've connected me with him, and he calls me up, and like an hour and a half later, I was like, oh my God, we've been on for an hour. Just, you can imagine just me and him going back and forth.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
telling me all about, and yeah, so he's really on this VGF. So VGF is vascular endothelial growth factor. And
Yes.
So it's kind of like a hormone that's in the body that's that's responsible for the generation of new blood vessels, right? And so in cancer, this is really super important. So like tumors need a blood supply. And so what happens is they stimulate the endothelial cells that are around them to basically form these little tubes, which become arteries that basically feed the tumor. So the notion is that if you could block that signal, you could have a way of basically choking the tumor because tumor doesn't have a blood supply. So that process is called angiogenesis. Angiogenesis meaning angio, like, hearts and arteries, and genesis, like new, right? So it's like new blood vessel formation. So cannabinoids have been shown to be anti-angiogenic. And you see, this is like what he knows is, and he's a heart surgeon. That guy was doing fucking heart surgery for how many years, Marcus? I mean, he
A
operated
long
on
time.
people
Yeah,
a long
He
fucking
saved a
time,
lot of
right?
people's lives, man. Like
Saved a
he
lot of
told me
people's lives,
intense
totally.
stories, holding
So
like kids' hearts in his hand, like a kid that got shot. He saved a kid's life. Told me a lot of crazy stories, man.
he's an incredible wealth of knowledge because he's actually a doctor who healed people, who did surgery, but he also has a vast understanding of the endocannabinoid system, right? And so and he's a big, and always has been a really big proponent of, why isn't the endocannabinoid system taught? He had this whole thing on cannabis hypermesis syndrome. And it's funny, Marcus, while I was down at CanMed, I'm like texting Dave Allen. I'm like, oh man, hey, they're talking about CHS. And so then Dave's saying, well, ask this question. And, we're like back and forth on our phones, and I'm taking screenshots of the slides that are being produced. And I think he's a little bit at odds with where Ethan is on this. But I think, again,
He just came in. And you know who came in right at the exact same time as Dr. David Allen? Remo came in, puffing a big fatty at the exact time. You guys are on together, Dr. Allen.
Hey,
and
Bubble
Remo.
Man.
How you doing, Remo?
Oh man,
Up
there's
to
a
date.
blast from the past.
Dude. Oh, he's cutting out a little bit.
Hey,
How you
Dr.
doing?
Dave.
Can you hear me?
You're cutting out on
There he
us,
is.
Remo.
Hey, you're
That is
back,
hilarious
Dave.
to see him.
How's it going?
All right. I missed you on earlier.
I was just on briefly. I don't have a lot to add to the discussion.
No,
Well,
we were talking about
we were-
VEGF and all these other great things. I thought, oh,
Oh,
you
nice.
this is your jam.
Angiogenesis, right?
Okay, we're almost there.
Oh, you came
Man,
back, Remo.
Oh,
Remo,
good. Hey, how's it going?
fine. I
Here, check
enjoyed your
this out.
videos in Thailand.
Shit. Is that his grow? I need to pin that shit. Pin. Where are you right now? Are you at home?
Yeah, it's my backyard.
Of course it is.
Look at this.
Look at this.
But that's nothing. You want to see something that's really crazy?
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh,
nice.
dude, I gotta come see that, bro.
Oh yeah, you're always welcome to come over. We should
Oh
make some
my
hash.
God. Jesus.
That's enough to bring tears to a glass eye.
Good one.
It really
We got some
is.
auto flowers here. We got a little bit of everything. A little
Dude, you
droopy.
got a hoop. How long is that hoop house?
100 feet long.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's actually it's kind of funny. We got weed poking out the sides. I'll show you what I mean. You see that down there? That's where the bird is.
Oh yeah. Weeds poking out the side.
But all
Dude, look
these
how
plants,
happy Remo is.
but all these plants were in the greenhouse, and then we had to like drag all this out of the greenhouse because it was just started getting big.
Jesus. And now you're just gonna finish those out on your lawn?
Yeah, as much as we can. The auto flowers are going to be coming down real soon, which give us a little bit of space we can spread out. But it's like a 4-hour adventure to water these things.
Oh, I can only imagine. You
Yeah.
have like you're doing this by hand?
Yeah, just hose and a pump.
Damn. Irrigation, it can be nice.
It can be, but everything's in pots and we've been moving things around. Actually, I've taken to this. I put it on a skid. I can just move it with a forklift.
Well, you know, Howard Marks used to say there's two types of hash dealers, those that require forklifts and those that don't. But I think it should apply to growers as well. There's two types of growers, those that require forklifts and those that don't. And of course, Remo, you are one that requires a forklift.
Good thing I got one.
Yeah, good thing you got one, dude. It's nice to see you, man.
Good to see you. Yeah, we need to make some hash sometime, man.
I agree. That's always a good thing. I always enjoy our times of making hash and smoking hash. And why wouldn't we continue the journey?
No doubt. Actually, when I was in Germany, I went to this booth. They were called Ion Plus, and it was they make hash, static hash, just heads. And the guy there, David, he had some of the winner from Spanibus, like his entry, and he won.
Oh, I wanted to hear about that entry.
I think that's going to be the next big thing. But you were on that a long time ago. Remember, you were making it with the screens, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that was
parchment paper.
And even before that, I didn't come up with the parchment paper. You know what? My situation was that I learned about carding from basically reading the book Hashish, paying attention to Dave and Rob. They weren't giving anything out, but I was paying careful attention, and I would card the resin right on a tight screen. I would card the resin back and forth. And I understood that if you could break up the contaminant, the capitate stalks and cystolith hairs, everything that wasn't a gland, and get it to break through the screen, the heads themselves were so strong, they wouldn't go through the holes. And so, you know, that's what I showed John in 2012, where we took some of his hash and we carded it for 45 minutes. And we put that hash in a bowl that was left on the screen, and it was just full melt. Well, some years later, Skunkman Sam would show me his secret technique, which was this static sifting method with the hand. Now, the static sifting method, before Sam didn't want he said, please don't share it. I'm not ready to share it. He had some ideas that he wanted to do, but he wasn't really able to execute them. And so what happened was I knew about it for probably 10 to 15 years. And, you know, I went to D420K's house in Prince George one time and I showed him carding, and he was like, oh, I'm going to get a bigger card. And he went and bought these iTunes cards that were these big plastic cards. And he started doing it and he goes, dude, I'm getting material sticking on one side and heads on the other. And I was like, oh, cool. And so he did a little video of that on his channel. And then this guy
Nice.
Mies reached out and said, listen, you need a bigger surface and you should wrap that surface in like parchment. And that became the DVD and the parchment where you go back across. And it was a very slow method, but it was sort of this introduction to the concept of static sifting. And so eventually that would become, you know, Sam's method would just become known eventually. It would be, I would post about it, and more people learned about it. And then this guy Charles from this company called SC Filtration, Sambo Filtration, Sambo Creek, they created an actual machine. And the machine that you probably saw in Germany is that machine, but done by a Spanish group who saw their machine and then
Right.
made their own. So that's kind of the history of the story. It's super cool technology. I just got a V2, so we could play with it, Ramo. Right now, it's not even in the facility. So if we wanted, I could roll that thing over to your house. We could set it all
nice.
up, and we could like run some like a kilo or two of dry sift through this thing, and then it collects on the positive and negative of the plates.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty fun video, man.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, be just fun to smoke it. Even without the video, it'd be fun.
Oh, listen, that's the best part. Trust me.
Yeah.
The smoking of it by far is the best part, especially if you have something special and you make a nice farmer's grade sift. You take that sift, you can clean it with this machine in a very intense, super educational way. Like it's amazing how far they took Sam's, you know, simple method of running his hand over a 200 micron screen and collecting the heads that were attached to it into this machine. And they've been on Hash Church before. They have an old school, I guess, electricity static like engineer expert guy. He was an older guy. He was really cool. He had deep knowledge, and he was a big part of how they came up with this plasmatic, you know, static sifter.
Nice. Well, I like the end product, and it was melty. It had flavor. You want to make any joint taste good, just crumble a little bit of that in, and
oh, dude,
next level.
It's the holy grail. It's the holy grail. It's what Skunkman Sam was smoking for like decades and decades and decades. It's what, when I first met him, it's what he put in my bowl, like 6-star full melt, pure glandular trichome heads, literally, because I have it right here. So why wouldn't I show it? Literally this is what he put in my bowl all those years ago. But wham. Like,
wow. Makes my eyes red just looking at it. That looks great.
Oh, it was so powerful and potent, Ramo. Super good to see you, man. I hope to see you in person here soon. Your place looks absolutely beautiful, like a Swiss chalet.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's I've been growing vegetables.
As you should.
Well, no, I never grew vegetables before because I figured, you know, why would you do that? You know, 1 pound of cannabis is worth like a year's worth of vegetables. It was wasted time. But now vegetables are worth $3.99 a pound, like tomatoes are, and so, you know, I tried growing a bunch of vegetables last year, just the tomatoes, and I had 8-foot tall tomato plants, and well, it's starting again. Look at this one here. This one's it's bigger than me. It's like we're getting about 6 feet.
Dude, they'll be so much better than anything you can buy at the grocery store. Are you kidding me? It's the same thing with you know, I just want to smoke the hash instead of make the video. It's like you want to grow the veggies because you'll feed your family the best food that you can produce that you can't even really go and buy, because that involves a level of trust that I'm not sure I'm willing to give.
Well, you know, I've never grown peppers before. This is my first year doing this. And check this out. I got peppers in here. You see that?
Those are beauties.
Then I got like a bunch of hot peppers. I got like orange habaneros and jalapeno. Got some burning bush. We got some hot Portugal, some red cayenne. Growing the peppers.
That's awesome, man. What a dream. What do you got? Some acres there?
8.5 acres.
8.5 acres. Damn, dude.
Yeah. Just come over and rip some ATVs around the yard. It's kind of fun.
Of course we will.
Yeah.
Of course we will.
Corn.
I see the corn.
Yeah, and you know what? It's already developing. Like, you see the dreadlocks it's getting here? Oh, look at that. That was pollen coming down. It was raining pollen on me. Yeah, I'm actually producing corn. Everything in my garden here, I'm running on a 3EC Ramo nutrients. And it's got cucumbers, lots of cucumbers.
Oh yeah.
Shit's going wild. I just started getting tomatoes. None of them have ripened yet. Basil. I'm giving this like really strong plant food, like 3EC to the basil and parsley. I think my parsley looks like it's on steroids.
Looks beautiful,
That's
man.
3 strains of basil, which we just continuously pick off of.
Big fan of the basil.
Oh
I
yeah,
think everyone should have basil grown around their place.
oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and then the peppers, like I said, are just awesome. Except I bought this strawberry plant. Check it out.
What do you use the parsley for?
Chimichurri sauce. Sandy chops it up and puts like lemon juice and spices and stuff, and makes this
Yeah.
green sauce out of it. It's awesome.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Remo,
Yeah.
you know what the difference between parsley and pussy?
What?
No one eats parsley.
Okay.
Jesus. Dr. Allen.
Okay. Well, it's fun to grow anyway. But this is my only disappointing plant is this strawberry. I found out afterwards, like it's growing these tiny little berries and they're white, and I'm like, what's going on? When do they turn red? Apparently they don't. This is these white mountain strawberries, and they're not very sweet. And I'm like, I just threw a bush of them. I'm not sure what to do with that. That's my only disappointing plant.
Dude, that was an incredible soundbite, Dr. Allen. Like just
Well, that's gonna be a quote that'll go down in history.
Holy shit.
I think that's the first pussy joke we've had on Hash Church.
100%.
Oh, it's good to be first.
It's good to be first. It's good to be first. I'll tell you one thing. That was extremely funny. I'm not gonna lie. And it's part of the funniness was almost like my initial immediate reaction, which I also think was Etienne Collins, was like, oh no, we're gonna get canceled. Like it was this like, oh no,
it's YouTube. You can just rock on.
No, it's not that. Not like that. Just this invisible pressure of like, you're just not allowed to be funny anymore. You're not allowed to make a joke. And the fact that it came from Dr. Allen, it just made it so much better than if anyone else said it. Dr. Mark hasn't even reacted yet. He's still just in shock.
He's in shock. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. I was just thinking, Remo, I over the years I've tried to grow peppers in many different forms. It's very difficult to get pepper seeds to germinate. It really truly is. So kudos to you for doing it. I have a few tomato and pepper plants out, but for whatever reason, my pepper plants just take so much longer to sprout. So I don't know if that's something you found, but yeah, it was really interesting.
Well, you know what? My only secret is I indiscriminately feed everything out of the same barrel over here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything gets the same food. So this all started with me having a few cannabis plants and just feeding that and going, well, what happens if I give it to tomato plant? And then we started getting like production. So it's like, okay. So this year what's your PPMs or TDS then, Remo? What are you shooting for? I'm running a 3EC. 3EC on everything. They said that you can't give that to herbs. Well, bullshit. These things look great. The peppers love it. Well, the parsley looks a little strange. It's big. It's green. I've never seen marigolds like this. I put a single marigold in here from the nursery, and each one turned into these like multi-head creatures. And grandma's geranium's the same thing. Like it's just look how many heads there is on this. That's running 3EC. It's just the hanging basket. Look at this. This is a freak show.
Is that a maple behind you too? Japanese maple?
Yeah, right here.
I love
that's running on it too. I gave some this morning to it.
I love those plants.
Yeah, and I got our Butis tree
nice and healthy, nice and beautiful, clean green color right across the board.
Yeah,
everything's running on this stuff. It's kind of like Frank's Red Hot sauce. I put the shit on everything.
Remo's hot sauce. Put it on everything.
Well, that's going to be coming this fall when we harvest this row of peppers. We're going to experiment with this one.
Remo.
There's some hot ones here.
How is Remo Nutrients doing?
We're doing great. We actually, this is the reason I'm using this. This is off our powdered line. We introduced a powdered feeding line about 2 years ago. And, well, I've been torture testing myself, and the results are great. It seems to work on everything. But we're going to be doing actually a living soil organic product hopefully next year, and an algae product as well. So we're branching out. We're shifting
Nice.
gears.
That's cool, man. Well, I've definitely tried your stuff over the years and it's worked well. I'm fully in living soil these days, but love to try your mix if I can ever get a hold of it here in the States.
Oh,
When it comes out.
hopefully coming soon.
Yeah.
You know what? This is what I realized is that after what's kind of happened in our industry, there's less growers. So I have to have more choices because there's less growers. So I have to have something for everybody. That's kind of why we're making the move into that.
Cool.
Remo, are you using compost tea brewers?
At this point, no, but we have in the past. Joel had a worm tea barrel going, and man, we got some really nice microbial teas out of that. But everything you see here is just straight salt. Same with the field and the greenhouse. It's just salt. Just Remo elements. It's cost
Yeah, I
effective.
mean, you can grow great things with with the skills and the understanding of your inputs. I think that's across the board, no matter what medium or discipline that you come from. And I think that's well highlighted with the nutrients you have.
Thanks.
So yeah, it's cool.
Man, you definitely got me wanting to visit the garden and visit the property and see you and Sandra.
Come on down. Actually, it'd be good to come when we're harvesting some food, so we can make like a Greek salad or something, or eat some of the stuff.
Tell Sandra my joke.
Her sister's here, and I have to wait till her sister's not around. I don't want
to,
I can't do that.
What strains do you have in the garden down there? What do you got?
Pardon me? I'm sorry.
What cannabis strains, cultivars do you have?
Oh, well, over here we got Time Warp, right there. And then we got the Sea Warp. These both came from Texada Island. And then this one's Pressure. I got this one from those guys, Private Stock. They won that Winner Takes All Cup that Tim put on for the $10,000 prize. And then actually, those were more of the same. Oh, there's some Jealousy right there. Then we had to cut back the Afghani Bull Rider. It's looking hurting now, but it was too big. It's sad story. Jeff Tech stopped growing.
He stopped growing.
Yeah. Then he put his house up for sale. He wants to sell his house and go traveling. So he gave me his last plant. It's sitting here. I got cuttings, and he wants to go travel the world. I don't blame him. He's been growing for a long time, and he wants to see the world.
Well, that's what's given his cultivars out there enough. He'll always be able to get it back.
Well, I'll give it back to him. No problem.
Exactly.
I got it right here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Actually, it's kind of funny. He just sold his CBR 600 because I don't know, he wasn't comfortable on it. He bought one of those Honda Shadow 1100, cruiser bikes. I went riding last weekend with him. Nice. He likes the cruiser bike better. It's because you're not all hunched over. You're kind of laid back. And
well, the cruiser bike doesn't instill this like frequency of like, let's go 260 kilometers an hour.
Oh yeah, his bike definitely did that. I rode it, and it sounded really nice. Had one of those 4-1 Yoshimura headers on it, so it just sounded like a race car. Amazing sound, really cool bike. But you let it go cheap too, $2,500. Like it's almost free.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but he got the new bike for a really good deal. He only paid $1,300 for it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's almost free.
It is almost free. The insurance would cost like 3 times that.
Probably, yeah.
Unbelievable.
But he's riding. That's the whole point. He's out having fun.
Yeah, that is the whole point. I hope to get mine going here maybe this this summer.
Nice. Well, anytime you want to go for a ride, I'm here.
I always will.
Oh no,
Probably
I got to go. I got somebody here, but I'll come back in a bit.
All right, brother.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me on Hash Church.
Dude, thanks for just popping in and sharing your vibes with us. That was fun.
Always appreciated, Remo. Give our best to the missus. Much love.
And I don't think there's ever been a funnier thing said on Hash Church either. So thanks for coming in and helping Dr. Allen out with that.
I'm glad I was present
Good to
for
see
the
you,
funniest
Remo.
moment on Hash Church.
Well, dude, had you not shown him what was it? Parsley?
Yeah.
Parsley.
Yeah. Had you not shown him the parsley, that may have not erupted.
Where would we be now?
Thank you, brother Remo.
My pleasure. It's been a blast. We will blaze again soon.
Yes, we will. This
right.
is the truth.
Cheers. Happy Sunday.
Thanks, Remo.
Be safe out there.
But,
God bless everybody.
Great character.
Hasta la vista, and I'll be seeing your Wranglers.
You taking off, Dr. Allen?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon. We'll film the Cannabis Journal Club this week for sure. Monday, Tuesday. I'd like to get an episode in the bag.
All right. Nice.
All right. What a character. You guys are killing me today. Holy shit, that was funny.
I didn't see Remo this year in Barcelona. I usually run into him and Sandra. She's a hoot. I love hanging out with her. She is she's fearless, right? She is just a badass. And
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
really funny because Remo's the mellow one in the relationship.
Yeah, Remo's super mellow.
I remember we all went to dinner in Toronto, Marcus, on the thing that spins around with like Johnny B, and I think Tony was there. A bunch of people.
Yeah. Did you go out on the thing with us, like out on the top of the CN Tower or whatever?
I think so. I just remember playing piano before we got in there. There was like a piano, and I just like hopped on it.
Yeah. No, I remember that because I think that was the same trip that we had gone, me and Remo and Sandra and 4 or 5 other people. We went outside the top of the tallest building in Canada and like leaned off of it with these like attachments. I have pictures of it. We're all wearing these suits. I remember because they damn near strip searched us, checked us along every stop to make sure we had nothing with us, because I guess the biggest worry is that someone brings something up there and it falls and then hits someone and you could kill someone. And so I ended up sneaking a vape pen up there, and Remo and I were like hitting this vape pen.
Of course you did.
And then of course he's smoking it and I'm like low key, not getting seen at all. Remo's just gets caught immediately, gets the pen taken away. And the guy's like, he starts telling us he's telling us a story actually that he catches people all the time. He's looking for it. And so I can't remember if it was Remo or who it was. They said, well, what was the last thing you caught? And he said, well, honestly, just yesterday, a porn star came up here with her cameraman and I caught her with a dildo and I took that away. I was just like, oh my God. So in the end, we got it back because I said to him, I said, hey, just give us it back. I mean, there's no reason for you to look bad. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, we got it through all your searching, like 3 different levels of searching. You only found it when we were outside and we have film of us using it. So you should just like give it back. And he was like, here, just gave it back to us as we left obviously as we got off the roof. But yeah, I've had some pretty funny experiences with Remo over the years. He's into adventure. He's into doing fun stuff.
Yeah, good guy. It was cool. It's good to meet him.
Absolutely. And Dr. Allen is going to go down in history on Hash Church for that joke. I believe
100%.
Highly inappropriate. We shouldn't say stuff like that. Just be the adult in the room for a second. But God damn, it was hilarious.
Well, that's the thing with comedy, right? It's so crazy. And then I think laughter is the best medicine. I know laughter is the best medicine. I know that when he said that, I wasn't laughing at the expense of anyone. I wasn't like doing harm to anyone. It was just so honestly funny. The timing, the person whose mouth it was coming out of.
It's
Oh my
priceless. It
God.
was you couldn't plan that. You couldn't bottle it. It's just one of those natural organic things that happens that
Holy
we
shit.
all, I mean, look at us. We all lost our shit. We all were like, oh my God, I cannot believe he said that here. Okay. And Dr. Mark's just like, oh shit, I need him in a boardroom because he was so reactionless. I'm like, oh man, I all of us were literally like cherry fucking red.
Wasn't
Was
that
out
funny?
there. I thought it was pretty funny. It was only funny because of who its mouth it came out of and the timing and
Yeah.
Ramo. The fact that it was Ramo.
Mom's
And he
name
just
drop.
came in super rare Ramo visit. Like rarely comes into Hash Church. Oh
good.
fuck. Well, it was nice to see his garden anyway. Nice to see his plants. Nice to know that I could go over there and get cuts of all those moms.
That bull rider, brother. You should grab that. That thing's
I am. I will. I had it before.
great.
Um,
I haven't
shout
grown
out
that
to
in years.
yeah,
Is that
no,
the
it's
real? Is that the real? The real
well, okay,
bull rider?
so yes and no. The bull
Okay.
rider you speak of is the San Diego family. They
Got it.
had the
That's the one I had.
that's
Yeah.
the OG bull rider. So
Got it.
Raz, my old buddy Raz, who worked at Emery's Seed Shop, and I made bubble with him a bunch of times. He was actually, I think, roommates with Jeff Tech. And so they had a whole scene together. I think they at one point in time were both married to the same woman, Michelle Rainey, not at the same time, obviously, but they have a very close relationship. He knew the San Diego guys. He got the bull rider cut from them and he gave it to Jeff. Jeff crossed it with an Afghan, and then it became what we know as the bull rider, which is the Afghani bull rider. And it's very candy. It's very just like unique. It's got a great taste. It kind of just makes you feel like you're eating a dessert. I haven't really seen it in a long time. I heard that he got the cut to someone in an LP, and I saw the flower, but I really didn't think it was a good rubber. I could smell that it was like a distant, it was in there way back. But the thing about Afghan Bull Rider, especially when it was grown by Black Paw or Jeff Tech or Raz, it was just amazing. It was a great expression where you were like, even if you didn't like that cultivar, you would like it because it was grown so well and it just, smelt so well, smelt so good.
Got it. Yeah, I remember the Afghan, the bull rider being just super, super dank OG. Very different.
Yeah, Golden Coast says Hog's Breath and Bull Rider are some of San Diego's best. I will buy that bull rider cut if you can get it. Well, how inappropriate would that be? Private message me after the show, bro. I'm just joking. I'm not doing that. I don't sell cuts, but I do support nurseries and tissue culture companies that do. I think that would be amazing if suddenly, I think what Mojave said a while ago on Hash Church about drawing a line in the sand with groups like Phylos, where they say, look, we're not just going to take any representation of OG. We're going to go into the families that we know, the groups of people that we know. We're going to stick with the OGs that have the deepest lore and the biggest stories and the longest history. And those are the ones that we'll draw the line at. And if that could be done, just to have a true representation of cultivars available in tissue culture, because they're tissue culture, you just order them from anywhere in the world, no cannabinoids, nothing illegal. To be able to do that would really propel the cannabis community in a very quick fashion, because the majority of that open source stuff is free to use, right? Unless you're doing some crazy university breeding project and protecting your genetics the way Sam had to. And I think there's a lot less of those people. The majority of people are just buying packs and trading seeds and selling seeds, which means it's all up for grabs.
Yeah, no, well said. I think you're right. We need a suppository, so to speak, or depository, I should say.
I was gonna say, damn, where's Colin going with this?
No, in the spirit of Dr. Allen. But in reality, I think the industry needs also differentiation too. People, farms need someone to be able to hold that stock for them so they can develop their own voice and all of this as cultivators as well. So they can bring unique things to the market that are grown specifically by certain farms. I think the Whitethorn Rose is a good example of that. Or there's a lot of great examples of in-house genetics that people are breeding for themselves to grow and learn about. And I think something like that would be helpful, I think, as we move forward. Having that diversification and then individuality, it helps develop a voice, I think, as a cultivator, and it just broadens the conversation a little bit. It's like a musician that doesn't play covers, right? Sure, it's nice to play the classics and be able to do that, but isn't it great to write new music and continue to contribute? I think that's kind of the spirit of where I'm going with it. So, yeah.
Appreciate that. Colin Calmer of the Yankin Roots.
Yankin Roots, my reggae, late night reggae.
That's your reggae band, man. That is your reggae band. Oh my goodness. Well, it is a beautiful day here in British Columbia as well. It's nice to have summer here, I'm not gonna lie. We had a long, cold winter. Not that we get a very cold temperature, but even 0, like Celsius, whatever that is, 32 or 36 Fahrenheit. It's brutal here on the West Coast. Where I come from, it was minus 38 Celsius. And that was brutal too. This is not as brutal, but you get spoiled after 28 years, and then you feel like, yeah, this is cold as fuck. So once the nice weather comes in, it's like, oh yeah, gonna get the boat in the water, do a little paddle boarding, enjoy summer, do some hikes, and of course, sprinkle a little bit of hash into all of that, because a sprinkle goes a long way. That is the truth.
It's beautiful right now.
All the way across the board, hey, right over to New York, from Vancouver to New York.
I'm heading out to the beach after this, my man, for sure.
Vermont's always beautiful, right,
Yeah,
Dr. Mark?
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful day on the lake. It was a little bit of a chop out there earlier today, but it looks like it's settled down quite a bit.
How big is that lake?
Lake Champlain, it's big. Like, it's inland sea. In fact, we live on Mallett's Bay, which is a bay that kind of is separated from the greater part of the lake. But out on the open lake today, they said there were between 2 and 3 foot swells. So yeah, I mean, it's probably, I guess, just like any other big lake. I mean, it could be just as rough as an ocean out there, it seems like, right? So theoretically, Mark, I could get my kayak in here. I could put my kayak in here and I could kayak all the way to you.
Yeah, well, it's a big lake for sure. It's like 172 kilometers. That is very big.
Yeah, and it shares, there's quite a bit of, the lake is in Canada too. You could cross international border and still
Like the
be in
Great
the lake.
Lakes. The Great Lakes are huge. Lake Champlain is about half the length of the shortest of the Great Lakes. Great Lakes, and the surface area of the smallest Great Lake is almost 15 times that of Lake Champlain. Those Great Lakes are monstrous. How long and wide? That's the one I wanted to find out. 120 miles long and 13 miles at its widest point. That's pretty cool. That's long.
Yeah, but it's like, it's really nice because on the Vermont side, you could kind of see the Adirondacks. You could see Mount Marcy and Whiteface, and that's where they had the Lake Placid Olympics, so there's a big mountain range there. I think they go as high as like 5,000 feet. And then when you're on the New York side, you're looking across the lake at Vermont, and the spine of the Green Mountains go up through Vermont. So it's really pretty here. I mean, this is the most beautiful time of the year to be here, to be honest.
More beautiful than fall?
Well, the fall's nice too.
Different though, right?
We get inundated with leaf watchers who like to see the leaves turn, but we need that tourism dollar, so I'm not going to poop on that. But yeah, it is beautiful. I'm telling you, it's beautiful up here every season. Even in the so-called stick season or the mud season, right, which is in between winter when everything's white and when everything greens up in the springtime. So,
Shoulder
the
season.
yeah, well, they call it mud season, right? Because it's just the back roads are super muddy and the roads get ruddy because they freeze when it gets really cold, and you have these, basically soft roads that, are easy to form big ruts. And so, yeah, I mean, there's kind of like it's an unsaid thing. Vermont, it just takes longer to get everywhere, longer to do everything. Just it's difficult place to live, but it's really nice when you can settle.
As long
So,
as you're not type A, you'll be fine in Vermont. Is that what you're saying?
well, even if you are type A, I mean, there's type A people in Vermont. If I
Must be
know what type
killing
A
them. They
people,
must be swearing at people in traffic like maniacs.
well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they are. People from Boston and New York going up to Vermont and giving it a go. I'm going to live up in Vermont.
well, I can tell
Really?
you we get a fair number of people from Quebec. I even after the tariffs, it still seems like we get a fair number of Canadians who come down here for a variety of reasons. I think they like shopping at the Costco down here. I see Canadian plates in there, but whatever. It's all one fucking world, man. I don't, so what? There's a stupid border up here. What does that mean exactly? I don't know what it means.
It means I
It's the
haven't been to
same.
America in 30 years. That's what it means. But
Well,
may the gods rain a blessing down upon me and I will get my waiver next month. And if I
awesome.
do, I will be making the tour of America. I'll be heading down to all sorts of different folks, visiting you guys in your different states, visiting all
Yeah.
my partners, my brand partners in different states. I can't tell you how excited I am to actually get down there for the first time. Everyone's like, you shouldn't go to America
I
right
bet
now. I'm
you
like,
are. You should time it
dude.
for during fish tour, right? We go hit some fish shows.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm so busy with it that there'll be no timing it. In August, if I get the waiver, I will have to go to Michigan. I'll have to go to Colorado. I'll have to go to New Mexico. I'll have to go to there's a lot of states I have to go to. And even if I only go to them for like 2 or 3 days a piece, it still ends up being like 30 days away from
Yeah,
home.
that's what you were saying
So
last time.
I'm not going to be able to get to them all, I don't think, in one trip, but it's going to be on fast. So I suspect the fish part won't be difficult because it's been forever. I haven't
Well,
seen a
there's some
show
shows
in
coming up in
decades.
Hampton, right? There's kind of like a fall tour coming up. Colin, maybe me and you should figure out how
Yes.
we could wrangle Bubble Man to a fish
Yes.
show.
100. Yeah. And like, dude, MSG all day long. I got us. Like
Oh
anytime
yeah,
we go
MSG, let's
there,
go. New Year's
let's
Eve.
100%.
Damn.
Let's go. Anytime. Just
We
we're
bringing
going.
the
Marcus, do you
wives?
have New Year's plans yet?
Bring whoever you want.
Well, I just, as long as my wife's there,
Yeah, she's welcome. Come on, come on, dude. Let's do it. I think we need to do a hash church MSG for sure. Let's
Yeah,
go.
House Church at MSG. We're here at MSG backstage with the band formerly known as
Oh, Dr.
The
Sheldon,
Fish.
are you going to the SF Dead show?
You
DNC?
know, we sat on the fence. We thought about it. Boy, those tickets are expensive. It's not a cheap show. Yeah, I mean, we're still on the fence, but maybe not. It depends. Now they're talking about broadcasting it, so maybe we would just at home or stay at home. But it's going to be a large shit show, right? ATN. I mean, a lot of people coming in for that, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. A friend of mine who was I went with to Wade yesterday was if you were going, he wanted to hook up with you. But
Oh,
Yeah, that was why I was asking. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. I mean, dead shows here were already crazy enough. And so everybody and anybody who either missed that opportunity or, of course, the real deadheads are going to want to be there and they will pay and can afford to necessarily pay those necessarily exorbitant prices for those tickets. So it's going to be crazy regardless. But that they're
It's at the
broadcasting it,
Polo Grounds. It's at the Polo Grounds.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I
Coachella,
mean,
that's where
if
they're
you
doing it.
If it's at the Polo Grounds, it's going to be huge.
it's going to
Yeah.
be huge. Yeah, so it's out. It's like where they have Outside Lands Festival and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically the festival fairgrounds. Yeah, I mean, the greater part of the park is huge. I mean, you have the Panhandle, and there's just going to be so many people. I'm at that place is going to be a fucking zoo, ATN. It's going to be completely overrun. I was at the thing 10 years ago that was in Soldier Field in Chicago, right? The Fare Thee Well 50 years. So what ATN's referring to is what they're calling GD60. It's the 60th year since the Grateful Dead started. Grateful Dead started in 1965. So here we are in 2025 celebrating 60 years of Grateful Dead music. Oh my God, when I think of that number, that just seems so fucking long ago, right? I mean, the 60s was 60 years ago. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I mean it's going to be huge. Billy Strings is warming up the first night. I think the second night it's a country guy. Who is it Jeff Church? I forget. Or not.
Who's got the Billy Strings links? He's coming to Vancouver in August.
Yeah, go. I could set you up with Billy Strings.
You guys,
So Billy's playing the first night, but then Trey Anastasio band from Fish. So Trey and his
Little
band is
tab.
playing the third night. So yeah, so it's going to be 3 nights. I would love to be there. It's right around the beginning of school year, so it's kind of the timing isn't so great for us. But yeah, those people who can go if you're in the San Francisco area, I imagine you're going to be going, right, ATN? No, you're going to stay far away. He's like,
No, no, no. I like the scene. I'm not into the music. Sorry. I mean, I appreciate it and the people and all that, but I never got into the Dead music or Fish. I was kind of wondering, how do you choose daily which one to listen to? You know what I'm saying? But, I know it's a feel and people love it, but I have a lot of my friends and a lot of people I know are diehards who were part of the scene. Siva Foundation used to invite us to gather signatures, but we're not doing any of that. So there's no reason for me to be there, and I'm not
you're
gonna
in
jam.
Berkeley, which is like one of the mainstays, I think Phil was from Berkeley originally, maybe, or
Yeah,
was
I
he
live
from
at Daly. It's
on a
he went to
peninsula?
school. Yeah, he went. Yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
And
like
they're all
that's
Marin County, really. The Dead, really.
traditionally they were down on the peninsula, right? And then they moved to Marin as soon as they had money and they could move out of the hate, right? I mean,
True.
the Summer of Love, which was 1967, is when they lived in 710 Haight Street or 710 Ashbury rather, and yeah, they recorded their first album with Warner Brothers and started getting a little notoriety. And as soon as they got money, yeah, they moved up to Marin. I know Mickey had a ranch in Novato, and Bob was
Does he
near
still have
Mount
that
Tam.
ranch? I thought. Does he still have that ranch?
Yeah, I think he
Does.
might. Jerry for a long time lived on Stinson Beach. So yeah, I mean they all had kind of like, when they achieved wealth and had a little bit of success, were able to move off into the
Well,
into the
Phil was definitely born in Berkeley.
yeah. But Jerry, I think, was originally from San Francisco, but I think he kind of palled around with most people in Palo Alto down, and Bob was originally from God, what's that super uber wealthy community right there in Palo Alto, right by the university, right by Stanford. Bob was actually Yeah, so anyway, GD60, it's going to be a great celebration, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun for the people who go. But I bet you it's going to be a fucking shit show. Like, just a lot of people, huge logistics, just people everywhere. Yeah, like Phil Les said, it was never meant to be a private party. So,
Yeah.
Indeed.
not a private party.
Well, I want to thank you guys for showing up and hanging out today and sharing in the conversation. I want to give a big shout out to Monica and in regards to Wade Laughter's celebration of life, and thank Etienne and Maggie and all of the people that made that happen. It was special. You can go on the channel and you can watch it if you like. You can hear some of the stories of people that Wade Laughter touched deeply. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Ty Grow and the other gentleman who won the giveaways today. You'll be getting your Presco giveaway as well as bubble bag giveaway. Just send me actually, I've already got your address and I've already forwarded it to shipping, so your bags should go out early Monday morning. So expect those. We'll look forward to hearing from you. We will be back next week for Hash Church. I'll try to get my shit together and make the page like tonight with the Zoom and everything and send out the links to get everyone. I did not do that this week. Most people got this link like this morning, about 20 minutes before Hash Church. So sometimes it gets away from me. Anyway, may the full melt bless your bowl sooner than later. And we will talk soon.